Why do you follow me if you don't already own my book?
Oh,
Hello,
Laura says hi.
hello.
Laura. Hi.
Welcome. We're on time. Well, a minute late. Pretty
I
good though.
love that. I love that we're just essentially conning the internet and we're getting Tony Robbins ads. I just love it.
People say that so much that like, oh, I just watched your video and I got a Tony Robbins ad either before or after. So he must have like self-help, anything self-help, even if it's negative, targeted for his company.
Yeah, of course.
Him and Dean Grazioso, my
Oh,
other favorite
lovely, lovely
person.
Dean. I love Dean. No, I don't. I can't
Deanie.
stand the guy.
Deanie the Beanie.
Hi,
Yeah.
everyone.
Hello, hello.
Oh no, YouTube doesn't send notifications. This sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's why I don't
Maybe
tell
we
anyone.
shouldn't swear.
Everyone's like, oh, I know. Everyone's like, oh, I didn't get the notification. I'm like, yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know. Just hope that every time you go onto YouTube, someone's live, that it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how are you? How are you, Kayla?
I'm good. I can't complain. I feel like I've been bombarded by Hollis content this week, unexpectedly, sort of. Because Dave just came out with a new podcast. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh my God, I didn't know.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
About his experience in therapy and stuff. I haven't listened to it yet, but apparently it's with Gabby Bernstein, our other favorite person.
Oh, just woo woo Gabby. Okay,
Uh-huh.
interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy that Dave's back. Wow.
Yeah. Well, he's got
That was a very short break. That was
it
a
was like,
really short one.
I guess and this is all from Reddit. I just was reading the recap, so I can't confirm whether this is true or not, but I guess he was saying to Gabby that it was 8 weeks he's been doing whatever he's doing. So this is like the end of the 8 weeks period of time.
Oh, so is this confirmed that he's been in rehab?
I don't know. I haven't listened to it yet, so I don't want to say either way. But on
Okay,
Reddit,
okay, yeah, we should probably talk about it next week
fact
after
check.
we both listen to it.
Yeah, and Dave would say this.
I am all about getting a free ride.
So we can talk about him next week.
Yeah, that would
Free
be good.
promotion.
Let's do that. Yeah, we need to welcome him back. You know, we're the, what did he call us? I forget what he called us. The
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. We're the Beetlejuice.
I did put a post about him yesterday, so maybe I brought him back. If anything,
Oh,
he was
you
the Beetlejuice.
manifested him.
Yes, I was like, I need some Davy in my life, and then here he is, right front and center.
Well, Dave is nothing compared to who we're talking about today.
Yes, Dave is like
So
a wannabe Tony Robbins.
it's like a little toddler compared to Tony Robbins.
Both in height and in personality. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, Tony is extremely extremely tall, sorry. But Dave is tall too, but I don't know. I think he still would look like a little kid next to Tony.
Well, I think Dave is what, 6'4"? Okay, what are your predictions how tall Dave Hollis is? I think I looked this up before, but he's over 6 feet tall. What do you think?
Dave,
Yeah,
maybe 6'1", 6'2".
6'2". Okay, I just Googled it and it says he's 5'10", which is not true. This is some other Dave Hollis. Oh, okay, it says Dave Hollis is, do I have a drum roll? No. He's
Yes.
6'4".
Pretty tall.
Yeah.
Pretty tall.
Guess how tall Tony Robbins is?
Okay, and he's gonna be tall. I don't know. 7'20".
He's 20 feet tall. No, he's 6'7". Which, okay, he's tall, but like
Wow.
a basketball player is taller than that. So he's not like abnormally tall, like for a human being.
I don't know. For Romanians, it's probably pretty tall because we're kind of short. Actually, I don't
True.
know. I don't know what I'm talking about this because I have no idea. See,
How tall are you?
men- I am not tall. I am 5'1".
Oh, okay. Oh, dang. Okay, I'm 5'5", so I'm like in
I
between.
found out this week that Savvy is tall, and I had no
Really?
idea.
How tall is she?
I've been friends with Savvy for like 2 years. We've collabed I don't know how many times, and I had no idea that she would just essentially eat me alive
How
if
tall
we
is
were in
she?
person. Like 5 or 5'6", something like that, like you.
Oh, okay, okay. I consider myself like average. I'm like right in the middle. 5'5". I'm not
So
like
what
tall.
am I?
You're in the
If
shorter
you're
end.
average,
You're shorty,
I'm so
petite,
short.
petite
Exactly.
princess. LeBron James, just for comparison, LeBron James is 6'9". So Tony is still below LeBron James. That's where we are on the spectrum. Dave Hollis,
That's
Tony, LeBron James.
okay.
Height
Yeah.
wise.
I was just looking up a picture of Dave Hollis and Tony Robbins, since they essentially talked about Tony Robbins since forever. So I thought I might find a picture of them together. Nope.
I don't think
Nothing.
they've met. Yeah. Well, if Rachel just met him for the first time officially, I cannot imagine that Dave would have met him. But you never know.
And Rachel also said that she opened for him in a conference or something. How do you not meet the host of the conference when you open for the host of the like, I don't understand this.
If someone can find the clip, because I've heard rumors too, and again, I didn't look for it that hard. I didn't like scour the internet, but I heard that Rachel had complained about a unknown or unnamed like self-help guy that she thought was a jerk because he snubbed her during a conference or whatever where she opened for him. And she didn't say it was Tony, but everyone assumed it was Tony Robbins. But now I can't find that episode. So if anyone knows which one it was, I would love to listen to it, because
No way she would call Tony a douche. No way.
not by name, but that's what I heard, that she had said like, oh, sometimes you meet your heroes and they disappoint you, like that type of rhetoric. But again,
But like, she
unconfirmed.
sounded like a teenage girl on fire when she talked to him, just like just like Marie Forleo. They sounded. I was just telling Kayla before the stream, like they sounded like they were his groupies.
Oh,
They just
yeah.
like, oh my god, Tony, oh my god, and then they just say right for the entire stream.
And it's not just women either, because Tom from Impact Theory sounded the same way. And then Tony was also on the Impulsive podcast with, what's his face? Logan Paul. And they all were like worshiping him and being, wow, you're so tall in person. You're so amazing. Like, just everyone kisses his ass. But it's also because he doesn't do that much mainstream media. He does a little bit, but not a ton. So, of course, these people that have podcasts, they're not impartial. They're not unbiased. They're meant to kiss ass, essentially. So,
Yeah.
I'm not
Of
surprised.
course, he just goes on to promote his book. Every time he has a book, he's like on Marie Forleo. I've seen him before. It's all about, and he just drowns people in information to the point where you have nothing to say because he just said 7 stories. So
Yeah.
where do you stop?
What's the point?
And just talk about. And yeah, because Marie Forleo would like ask him a question or something, and he would just then go to respond to, but through a very
Barely.
long avenue, and then it takes 7 stories, and she's like, right, okay.
Yes. And same thing with Rachel. It's like, oh, like that was her
Right,
contribution.
no. Rachel has the right thing because it annoyed me so much. Like I'm developing triggers to Rachel Hollis, and I heard her like 17 million times say right, and I was like, I can't listen to this anymore. It's at one point I was just so fed up with the right thing. I'm like, Rachel,
Right.
you I know you're not like university educated or anything, but like you're smarter than just right. Like come on,
It's the only word she could get
muster up
in.
something.
Yeah, it was the only word she
Yeah.
could get in edgewise. And she said right and rad. Oh, that's so rad. Yeah, rad. It's like,
Wow, isn't she like 17? I'm
She is.
telling you, this guy has a thing like women love, or at least women in self-help. They're drooling over him, maybe because he's like the daddy of self-help or something. they all know that if he gives them some attention or whatever, that immediately they're like propelled into the, the
Stratosphere.
creme de la creme of self-help.
Yeah.
So
I mean, every single one of
Rachel
these.
needs it though right now.
Oh, she needs. Well, she needs something because her content is lacking as of late, and she's trying to be, engaging, but it's falling flat for me personally. But all of these
Yeah.
self-help people, every single person I think we've mentioned on the show has some connection to Tony Robbins. Jenna Kutcher had him on. She was selling his courses. Dave Hollis, Rachel Hollis, Marie Forleo, who else? Everyone else. All the other ones. Mel Robbins. They all want to
Mel
be.
Robbins.
And I think Mel Robbins wants people to assume that they're married or related in some way. Because that's what I thought at first. I was like, oh, Mel Robbins and Tony Robbins, got it. They're a married couple that do self-help. And it's not true, obviously. But I think that she probably benefits from having that name. Because people probably just assume like that they're somehow connected.
Oh wow, okay.
I
I never
think.
thought about that.
I don't know. That's what I thought.
But I noticed, I don't know if you noticed this, in the podcast that Rachel posted with Tony Robbins, she tried just ever so, kindly to put in the idea that there were no women on Tony's stage, to imply that he should have women on stage, aka maybe he should have her. I don't know, like potentially. And like it fell completely flat. And then she did not try harder because she knows that, she can't, because this guy will just immediately shut her down.
Well, I think she may have been on his stage before. I think she did
Yeah.
open for him.
But that's why I don't know if you remember this, but she said in the interview, I was at your that you I had the idea because I saw no women on stage.
Yeah.
And I had the idea to have my own conference for women. And I think she was trying to get to the point where she would be like invited. Maybe he would be like, oh, maybe you should come next time on,
And he's
on
like,
my conference.
he's like,
And
yeah,
then there's never.
cool.
never did.
Yes. And I that was at the end of the podcast, at like the very
Yeah.
end, and it felt weird to me as well. Like it was very much like instead of critically thinking, and when she was saying like, Tony has no women on stage, this is a problem that he may be manifesting for himself, no pun intended with the manifesting, that he doesn't respect women, perhaps. That could be a reason why he doesn't have women on stage. No, instead she's going to flip it and make it a positive, because that's how she is, Miss Positive, and be like, well, I could be the first woman to be on your stage. It's like, why would you want to do that? Why don't you go to an organization that supports and uplifts women as opposed to, oh, you have to be the first one in 2020 or whatever? Like, I don't know.
I mean, kudos to her for having her own stage.
True.
But at the same time, this man was there and you could have had a constructive conversation. But I wonder if you would just shut it down and they would have to cut that segment out. Because like Rachel would never
She's not going
go
to be
on to
critical.
publicize
Yeah.
against Tony.
I agree. I think they wouldn't allow it because this is a puff piece and that's what it is. I mean, it's not journalism in any way. It's a promotion. It's him promoting himself via other people's
It's an
platforms.
ad.
An ad, yeah. Organic ad, But yeah, I don't think she doesn't want to be seen because, if she challenged him, she might attract people like us. But we're not going to fully go back on board to the Rachel train, I don't believe. So it's better for her to just stick to the self-help people that no matter what you say about the industry, they're going to be like, oh, no, I love it. It's amazing. And she might as well double down on that because otherwise there's no point.
And I think it's a losing game, because I think this industry is dying. Because like it's just so much negativity around it right now, I guess, to call it negativity, to call it haters. There's so much haters. And I think it's kind of on the way out, I would say.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I agree. I feel like it's getting worse and worse, but maybe not. I feel like you and I are awake to it, and a lot of like people who watch this channel and watch our channels individually are alert to it. But I don't know. It seems like more people are trying to become these self-help influencers more than ever. Like, I'm going to be a life coach. I'm going to sell Monate, but also. Sell, life coaching packages and how to be a better person packages. But okay, off topic. Someone commented, Laura says she found it, the Rachel Hollis talking crap about potentially Tony, episode 135 of Rachel's podcast, around 12 minutes. So.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to find that in the
Take
meantime.
a screenshot of that.
Yeah, let me go and search for that for a moment, and we'll see. I can pull it up in real time, as they say. While I do that, how are you doing, Cam? Are you making it through just your personal life?
I'm good. Things are really good, but pretty busy. I am just in the midst of a lot of personal stuff. I think I've spoken about this on my Patreon a little bit, but I have a house in Glasgow with my ex, so we're gonna try to sell it, and we still have a couple of works to do on it before selling. So I've been trying to like organize things from a different country. It's not easy.
Oh my gosh, that's hard. I didn't know you. So you guys co-own the house?
Yeah. So
wow.
It's urgent that we don't anymore.
Yeah, I feel you. I've never done that much entanglement, but I when you're entangled, man, and you don't want to be entangled anymore, it cannot happen fast enough.
Yeah, and it's great for him because he lives there and stuff, and I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah, dang. Well, good for you for investing early in your life. That's awesome. Sorry that it's not working out currently.
Yeah. Don't invest with boyfriends.
Yeah.
Just, I guess it's my life lesson here.
Yeah.
Next time there needs to be at least a ring on my finger. I don't know.
Solo invest.
Or maybe I will try alone, but it's very expensive.
I can imagine. Yikes. Okay, I found it. But we're going to play it. So obviously neither one of us have listened to this. This is coming from Laura Friedrich, Rich. So if it's wrong, blame her. No, just kidding. But thank you. This is awesome. I've been like searching for this.
Don't blame Laura.
Laura's innocent.
Laura. We appreciate this.
Yes, we do. I'm just joking. Okay, let's play it. So this is from episode 135. This was made in 2020, February 2020, so about 2 years ago. And it's called What I Learned from Meeting Oprah. And if you remember, if you're on our stream from, I don't know, a few weeks ago now, a couple months ago, we talked about how she met Oprah, and Oprah was not impressed with Rachel by any stretch. So it's interesting. Okay, so I'm at the 11-minute mark, so we're going to jump in the middle of this podcast.
To constantly check that minimum standard. And so something for y'all to think about as you look into your 2020 for your career or your family or your company is, what do you need to feel like you are doing your work well? And you can't be blinded by the light, no matter how great the celebrity, in order to make that happen. So I'm pretty proud of myself that, I mean, God, I hope it didn't like offend, because that would never be my intention, but I'm proud of myself for not immediately saying yes, that they understood where my heart was at and what I was trying to and hoping to accomplish. So that's the first thing that I learned. The second thing that I learned by getting to do the Oprah tour is the difference between an alpha female and an alpha male. Let me speak in generalization so I don't get myself in trouble. I had the opportunity to speak on some really big stages in 2019, and I had the opportunity to speak for some people who, before I went to speak for them, were my heroes, who are alpha males, very big in their field, and one in particular who on more than one occasion I was asked to speak for, who still to this day has never actually looked in my direction. Meaning, went and opened and flew and traveled and did all of these things to accommodate this opportunity to work with this person at, I'm using air quotes because, y'all can't see me, but at his request. And never looked in my direction, never shook my hand, never thanked me for coming, never acknowledged me in any way.
Damn.
And the flip, well, let me sit in that for a minute, was utterly devastating to me. Devastating to have this person that I admired for most of my adult life sort of go, okay, you've earned your way into the room, or you've kind of earned your way to a seat at the table, but now I will intentionally not acknowledge you so you know that you have gotten to here, but only so far. And I suppose that you could say there are all sorts of reasons why someone would invite you to their event and then not talk to you. I don't believe for a second that if I was a man, I would have been treated that way. And I also remember telling Dave, my husband, when I was so devastated when it happened the first time. It happened twice, in case you're wondering if it was a fluke. I told Dave as we were leaving, the day that I cannot come out and thank people who have flown to another country or another state to speak on my stage is the day that I am no longer allowed to do this, because I don't want to be that person. And that experience was devastating. It was like the death of a hero. And I know that that sounds very dramatic, and I'm setting it up because I want you to know the difference between an alpha male in that setting and an alpha female. I can think of very...
Okay.
Wow, damn.
Yeah.
Thank you, Laura. Seriously, hold on, wait. We gotta...
Laura, yeah, excellent investigation.
You saved the day. That was what I was anticipating hearing, but I was like, I can't find it. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't exist. Maybe it's all a rumor. Maybe it wasn't recorded. But from this to what that interview that I just listened to her give for 2 hours, or she was receiving from him, night and day, and I much more respect her here in 2020.
Yeah. Do you think that maybe outside, since when they were inside of the podcast, I'm just
Inside
using
of.
air quotes just as Rachel might. When she was inside of the podcast, maybe she didn't call him out, but do you think outside of the podcast, like in the room or on Zoom or whatever, do you think she was like, I was at your conference, why didn't you say hi?
I don't think so. Maybe, but I doubt it. I think she wants him to like her, and I think her boyfriend,
Boothing.
I got on my new sound bites. Boothing likes him, so I think that she has incentive to get him to continue to bring her on stages and stuff. So the past is the past, baby. And I don't know, but yeah, she kissed his ass after being devastated by it. To me, that's just, it's not setting women forward, it's setting us back as a gender.
Yeah.
I feel like acting that way. Dang,
Yeah.
what a great find.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's a great find indeed. I
that
love
was really
it.
good. Okay.
Wow.
Well, that's Rachel and
Tony-
Tony. Yeah, so let's talk about who the heck Tony Robbins is if you're not as familiar.
Have you guys heard of Tony Robbins? He's tall and
6'7".
the daddy of the self-help industry, as I like to call him. Or one of the daddies, because there's loads and loads of it's a very gay community. There's very few women. Very few.
Yes. He is the grand, in The Godfather, he is the mob boss of all self-help
He's the godfather.
organized crime. Yeah. Basically, this is an organized crime at this point, the self-help industry, I believe.
Oh, the stuff I listened to today, which is him promoting his book, I was just horrified at the stuff I heard. I can't believe there's book of medicine that has Tony Robbins' name on it, because I don't think he wrote any of it. Let's be serious. He
Yeah.
would never sit down.
The book that he just, it's
No, no,
700
unless
pages.
you can just like use a dictation thing.
Yeah, he,
It's 700 pages because I wanted to buy it and review it. And then I was like, no, I'm not doing this to myself.
I feel like, and I think I texted this to you, but I feel like like someone like him would do a 700-page book and repeat the same thing over and over and over again just because the 700-page book looks better than a 200-page book. And he knows that everything is about appearances. Everything is about believing that you're going to read this book. Whether you believe it or not, or read it or not, doesn't matter. As long as you think it'll make you look good to have a 700-page book in your library. I think he realizes that that's attractive to a lot of people, especially people who are in self-help that want to appear a certain way. And I think, for the record, I think Tony Robbins is a genius at what he does. I think he's an evil genius, though. That's the problem that I have. I don't think he's stupid at all.
To me, it's not, I don't know. Maybe you're right about like, some people wanting whatever glamour comes with having a big book. But to me, it shows like a lack of editing. It shows a lack of sitting in the room with someone who knows how to write a book and how to edit a book and being like, okay, we need to take some stuff out. We can't just let everything in the book. We need to take things out. But he's promoting some stuff that has not been regulated, that has not been approved by the FDA. So when you promote stuff that isn't yet legal or isn't, or that might be in 18 months, like as Tony said, it will definitely be, because that's how the FDA works. They go through the 18 months just so that it's definitely approved. But when you have something to promote like that you probably are investing a lot of money in, you want to just shove it down people's throats on every page, on every single one. So if as many pages as possible, you don't take anything out.
Well, I read a book that he wrote. I only got through because I got it on Audible. I only got through maybe an hour of it because he literally was repeating the same thing, and it was about how to invest. But he kept saying like, my wealth investor, and he would say his name over and over and over as like Ray Dalio or something. And I was like, who is this guy? And he kept saying like, my wealth investor. I feel like it was just a paid ad to promote the guy who does his finances or whatever. And he probably has some sort of cut in his, investment firm. And there was no real information other than like, if you want to do what I do, go hire this man to run your accounts. And I was like, okay, well, I have $100 in my bank account, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I didn't find it helpful. And I feel like that's the same thing with this latest book. It seems like, based on his interviews, it's all about doing these experimental trials that he may or may not have investments in the companies that are producing these.
He literally
products.
said, so I watched the interview that he did with Marie Forleo, and he literally said in the interview that he is donating the money from the book, to like America, Feeding America or something like that. And also to medical research into these things. So he has a vested interest in getting his money back.
Of course. He's not going to do
That's
anything.
how investments work, right?
Yeah.
You
he's not going to do
invest.
anything unless he's got money coming in from it.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh my God. And also you guys. he called Marie, like he said something about menopause, because obviously this drug will be good for everything. So anyways, he said something about menopause, and he said to Marie, you wouldn't know about this, but older women would know about menopause. Marie is 46.
You wouldn't know as a woman.
Not.
I know as an alpha
You
male
would
all
not
about
know.
menopause. Jesus.
At 46 years old, you would have no clue about menopause. I mean, I guess he meant like she wouldn't have experienced menopause, but she's 46.
could.
It's highly possible that she's experiencing it right now.
Yeah. or at least
She's been
know what it
experiencing
is.
menopause for a few years. He has no idea how old she is. I got the impression that he went to this interview with Marie and the interview with Rachel and be like, oh, these 20-year-olds, like, I think to him, like, if they look good, they're all 20 or something. I don't know.
I guess, or he's just so out of touch with what women are knowledgeable about now that he's just like, okay, any woman who walks this earth must not know as much as I do, so therefore I'm going to mansplain menopause to her, because even at 46, she won't know because she's an idiot as a female. Well, he said, that was one thing that I found kind of offensive to me, and someone wrote in the comment and said, like, there was a study or whatever, but he said women and men's brains are different, that physically that they're different, and I was like, I am unaware of this science. And he was making it seem like, not symbolically, like men think about sex and women think about shoes, like not that misogynistic symbolic thing, but physically that men and women's brains are different, therefore they have different, like, intelligence, essentially. And I was like, since when? Like,
Okay.
Is that real or not?
Well, I mean, obviously women are superior.
Okay, yes. That I agree with.
We can
physically.
we can give birth. That's why they send men to war, because we don't really need them. We can just keep Zelensky and then we're fine.
He's the real
In
daddy.
fact, we'll be thriving. Yeah. Every
Zaddy.
woman on this planet would like to be impregnated by Zelensky at this point. So I think,
He's a
we
little
would
busy
love
right
it.
now, though.
yeah, he's busy. But
He's a
I think they should take him out of the war and just let, the other men, they're fine. They can go. I don't care. But no, but I mean, other than those, in terms of like intelligence,
Tony
no, I
Robbins
don't think
said,
that.
so it must be true.
No, but Tony said.
Tony
yeah.
said,
No, but he knows a lot about medicine.
yeah, he does.
He, like,
totally.
He graduated high school, so
That's
he's
all you
an
need
expert.
these days. Well, basically, he sets up a lot of time, and I haven't read the book, to be fair, but in the interviews that I've watched where he's talking about his most recent book, he sets up a lot of doubt. He sows the seeds of doubt in the whole medical profession, saying that, doctors aren't trained that well, doctors forget stuff, the way that doctors are educated, they're not really incentivized to stay up on the latest trends, unlike him, that he's incentivized to be, up on the latest technology and whatnot. And, that with the COVID stuff, that they were too scared and, they were more concerned about the safety, physical health, as opposed to the safety of like anxiety and mental health and whatever. So he's very, I shouldn't say overtly anti-doctor, but he has enough emphasis on how doctors don't know that much throughout many of these interviews.
I sent you just now because I recorded this. I sent this to you on Instagram. See if you can play the clip.
Okay.
This is at the end of his interview with Marie, and he literally says this about doctors. You guys will see, like, the it's a little bit of a hit to the entire profession.
When did you send it on Instagram? Earlier today?
Oh, just now.
Oh.
Just now.
Stand by.
Oh, it's sending. It's sending.
Dang it. Well, in the meantime, I'll wait for it to come in. In the meantime, do you want to read Tony's biography?
Yes,
I can read
let's
it.
do it.
And I have some questions. But in case you have no idea, you're like coming onto the stream, you're like, I don't know who Tony Robbins is. Who is he the daddy of? I have no idea. This will break it down for you. Okay, he's not just a regular entrepreneur. He's a global entrepreneur. Okay.
Ooh.
Investor, New York Times #1 best-selling author, philanthropist, and world's #1 life and business strategist, according to whom? Okay, but anyways, Tony Robbins is an entrepreneur, #1 best-selling author, whatever, it's just same thing. Okay, he has empowered more than 50 million people from 100 countries around the world through his audio programs, educational videos, and live seminars for more than 4.5 decades. So 40 plus years. Millions of people have enjoyed the warmth, humor, and transformational power of Tony's business and personal development events. Okay, he's got 6 bestsellers, international bestsellers. A financial bestseller called Money Master the Game. I think that's the one that I bought on Audible because I'm a dummy.
Because the thing is, he's also a financial expert and a medical expert
Oh, he's everything. No education needed.
and a mental health expert.
Yeah, most importantly, mental health expert, because that's the stuff he talks about the most. He cures people of suicidal ideation, speech impairments, marriage troubles. He solves it within minutes at his conferences, so he claims. So that's pretty
Yeah, of course.
impressive. You know, he's basically,
No, he's fantastic at everything.
yes, he's basic. What do we say off camera? It was like, he's the giant Jesus. He's gigantic Jesus, basically. Okay, hold on. I think it came through
Yeah.
on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah.
So this was literally what he said about the medical.
And so now I can show him
I can pull up the whole thing because it's gonna show weird on the screen. Do you remember how far
Oh,
it
I
was
don't-
into the video?
It would be at the end, but I wouldn't know how to tell you exactly the minute.
Okay. Let's see. We should pull this up anyways because it's important to get to hear. We haven't even heard Tony yet. We've been on here for 30 minutes.
Oh,
We haven't even heard him
You
talk yet.
guys will love his voice.
Yeah. And we should say he's got a medical condition, allegedly.
Yes, he's got gigantism.
Yeah, and he has a pituitary. He's a tumor on his pituitary gland that apparently made him grow to the point of like 10 inches in 1 year as an adult. So that's why, and also his years and years of screaming and talking on stage. He's said that that's also contributed to the raspiness of his voice. So it's not like it's an
He
Elizabeth
didn't
Holmes.
do enough self-care.
Yeah, didn't drink enough ginger tea according to everyone's night routine. Okay,
I would go like much more to the end, like
Almost all the
maybe
way?
just the last couple of minutes, I would say.
Okay, let's see. Here he is, folks.
it's not selling well. It can cause bleeding in the brain. But I want people to know, even on that one, there's some gigantic breakthroughs that are happening. And one of those breakthroughs, there's multitude.
Look at her for a second. She looks like adoring.
I mean,
Tell me more about
she
brain
turned-
bleed.
she turned into a 14-year-old who's just been hit on by a senior in
Yeah.
high school. That's what she just turned into.
She's like, tell me more, baby. Brain bleeding? Love it. I love it. I'm so interested in this subject matter. My audience will love this. Okay.
Oh yeah, they will definitely buy it. That's for sure.
Yeah, they're going to buy this FDA not approved drug that you have to fly to Switzerland for. I'm sure everyone's going to sign up for this immediately.
In there, but just one. One of the deepest things with everybody's believed is that neuroinflammation in the brain destroys your memories. You can't remember. But at least with mice, they've done this with mice and they're now going to humans. This group that Google funded has found that the neuroinflammation is keeping the communication between the nerve cells so you don't have the memory, but the memories are still there. And they're taking these mice and restoring their memories. They're able to go through mazes and so forth like they were 20 years younger. There's a neural racer, it's called. It's a game played on an iPad that you can take an elderly person with, and after 14 sessions, they can multitask as well as a 20-year-old. So I just want you to know, whatever you think is impossible.
What? iPad toddler? Give an iPad to a senior. They'll be 20 years old in 14 sessions. What the fuck are you talking about? Excuse me.
Look, you can't, when you listen to Tony, you have to just, I don't know how to explain it. Just think of yourself as an empty journal. And he's just like inputting all of this information into you. Like you don't have time to question anything. You have time to like think. You're just being written into and just believe. It's like literally just as it is with any religion. You don't question, you just believe, okay?
The rest is still unwritten. And he just keeps going and talking on and on incessantly.
But I think this is the point, if I'm not mistaken. Just after her last question, it was the point where he started talking about doctors. And
Oh, okay.
well, he spoke about them at many points, but this was where I was just like, wow, okay, like he's putting it like really bluntly.
Yeah. Okay, we'll keep watching because this is interesting. Even though he's spewing like nonsense and we got into the middle of it, it's still and interesting in the sense of like who this person is that would be so confident in his delivery of this medical and scientific data to Marie Forleo for no reason whatsoever.
There are solutions that are either here or coming in the near future. So take care of yourself now so you have time to catch up with the things that are coming. But there's so many available right now that you just probably don't know about. I try to put them in one book for you to help you change your life.
Tony, thank you so much for
My
being
pleasure.
you. Thank you for doing the work that you do. I'm
For
sending
being
you such a
you.
huge hug until we can have some in-person time together. And
Thank you so much, honey.
And your
Okay,
new
so
daughter.
I think we
We missed it.
we were too late. I think it's the last question, which is just before here. So, but he
Dang.
talks a lot, so I don't know where to stop.
Well, she has titles in this one too. She even like took out certain quotes. And he calls her honey at the end, which he also called Rachel Hollis honey. I am not into that, honey. I don't like that. I don't like when men call women honey. I know it's a different. He's 60 plus, so
Yeah.
I know it's a different time, whatever. But I don't appreciate that, especially in a professional space. Don't call
But
me
would
honey.
you appreciate being there and not being allowed to even say a word?
Yeah, totally. No, I'm just kidding.
You would totally be like,
Totally, Tony.
I had such a good time shutting up right now.
She's like, well, my voice will never be as raspy. Thank you. Oh God. So weird.
God. Oh my God.
I'm gonna give you a hug. I'm gonna pray until I can give you a hug. That's what she was saying. I mean, why does I
Yeah.
saw he did this interview with a bunch of people. So he gave basically the same interview to like 20 different self-help people. Tom Bilyeu of Impact Theory, Marie Forleo, this other woman who's like very into woo-woo spiritual stuff. I saw her video got like 4,000 views, so not very worth it, even with a Tony Robbins name attached to it. And she had also interviewed Dave Hollis at some point, so she got an interview. Why did Rachel fly there? Everyone else did it on Zoom. She's the only one that went in person. I wonder if she did that on purpose to like show like, hey, look, it's me. You remember me? I wonder, because she only went for one day.
That is just desperate behavior because she's been
Yeah.
cancelled 17 times in the last year. So,
True. She's like, okay, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to Miami for the day. And then her hotel wasn't ready. It was like a whole story. I don't know. Anyways, okay. Let's see what else.
do
Okay,
you think she wore her thrifted clothes too?
probably. No, well, I don't know. Okay, so she will only wear thrifted clothes if it's not pajamas, loungewear, sportswear, underwear, or a bra, whatever. So she made it a point to say that the hotel wasn't ready, so she just wore what she wore on the plane. So I wonder if she did wear her loungewear. Maybe that's the whole key. So we can't tell that
Because she
she's
made an
buying the
entire
clothes.
race talk about it.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Nothing is by coincidence. For sure.
No, she manifested that loungewear.
I know. She manifested it by buying it for herself. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
This part I thought was really interesting. Who he's coached before, allegedly. Mr. Robbins is a leader called upon by leaders. So he's not just a regular leader, he's a leader of leaders.
Yeah, it's not a pyramid scheme though.
No. He is the top of the upline. So he's not.
It's an
you're all the
MLM
down-
of leaders.
Yeah. Basically.
L stands for leaders.
I'm a leader, everybody. Look at my label of leader. Okay. Now, I think it's just interesting the people that he selects to highlight in this biography and who he's also talked about in the past. Okay. So he has worked with 4 U.S. presidents. Which ones? I need to frickin' know because he's not that old. There hasn't been that many presidents. And I cannot imagine that, Bush Sr. is going to be calling upon Tony Robbins, who would have been like 20 years old at the time, for advice. But okay. He's worked with 4 U.S. presidents.
So probably not, but he might have crossed them in the street, and then turned that experience, manifested the I'm gonna work with them someday.
Worked
And then
with.
you have to, as Rachel has said, you have to speak it into existence by saying it already happened, like she says that a lot about manifesting. You have to say it. Like, you don't say I want a car, you say I have a car.
I
So
have worked with 5
yeah, you don't
presidents.
say I want to work with Nelson Mandela. You said I have worked with. So everything that they say in past tense needs to be questioned, because they might be employing the law of attraction here. So
But doesn't that go into fraud? By lying? Isn't that fraudulent?
where is the FTC at this point? Does
Yeah.
the FTC even exist
They don't
anymore?
care. The FTC could give a crap, apparently, about all this stuff. They don't care about... I shouldn't say that. The FTC's probably watching this like, how dare you? I'm a fan.
If you work for the FTC, can you just
Can we kick it up a
let
notch?
yourself known?
Yeah.
just comment over here. We're gonna
Can we try?
admonister. What's the word? Oh, you guys, English is not my first language. Have I mentioned?
It's better than me. I don't know the word either, and I only speak English, so there you go. Okay. So-
I mean, it just we would really appreciate it if you could get on those MLMs on these self-helpers. We would love it. We can help you.
we wouldn't have anything to talk about though all day, I suppose, if they stopped. If they were stopped.
Don't worry. I'm more than happy to never have any content to make, and just have
True.
the world clear from this toxic BS.
If I had to sacrifice my YouTube career for that, I guess I would. I suppose. And I put in my biography like philanthropist, gave up entire career for MLM help.
Yeah, no, I could become the self-help guru that you need, you guys. I can motivate even mice.
It's
But of
working in
course,
mice.
Not everything transfers to humans, as Tony Robbins has said. But my motivation would.
I didn't know that one man could say it's worked in mice as such a defense for his own book as Tony Robbins did in these interviews.
I think his book works on mice.
Yeah.
Only.
The mice
Only on
population
mice.
is just thriving right now with all this regenerative, expensive stem cell surgeries that he's promoting.
They have
apparently.
so many pages to eat at. They're like, gave them jobs for the next 24 days.
The book actually is a scratch and sniff cheese edition, if you weren't aware. Life Force by Tony Robbins. Smells like cheese is what the slogan is, in case you were wondering.
Yeah.
Okay, so not only presidents, he's worked with top entertainers from Aerosmith to Green Day, okay, Usher and Pitbull. It just seems like such a
God.
random group when he has in the past claimed, which I think maybe someone called him out for it perhaps, he's claimed he's worked with Nelson Mandela, what's her name? God, Mother Teresa, Princess Diana. These are all people he's claimed to have coached.
Princess Diana is dead.
Her spirit.
Also-
no, I guess when she was
Oh,
alive.
what's her name? The one who sued me. Also, she worked with Princess Diana too.
From Beyond
It's
the
funny
Grave?
how-
Or
No, obviously, it must have happened when they were alive. However, there is no media documenting any of it, so you
Yeah.
just gotta believe what they're saying. Of course,
well, I worked with
how
Betty
did-
White. I never said
No,
anything.
I too worked with Princess Diana.
Who hasn't,
Me and Princess Diana were like really good pals. Like,
Yeah.
we went out for drinks all the time. She just brought me over to the castle, and
Yeah.
we bitched on Charles all day. Like,
Yeah. And she trusted you with her life, so therefore.
oh yeah, no, and I'm a total expert on like celebrity gossiping. So if you
Okay.
are a celebrity, you can pay me $20,000 an hour,
Yeah.
and I will sit down with you in a castle and gossip about your husband.
I mean, that's a pretty good deal.
Princess Diana was super satisfied. I mean, she's dead. She can't really tell you, but if she was alive, she would give me a great testimony.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, but he's taking her off of, she's no longer relevant, apparently, because his old bio used to say Princess Diana, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, and the presidents. And now it's changed to these, to me, personally, lesser known, less impressive, still impressive, obviously, but less impressive performers and sports entertainers or whatever. So to me, it's like, okay, did he get called out? Because I couldn't find any evidence that he had worked with Nelson. There's one photo of him with Nelson Mandela. Let me find it. And it's during the 90s, in which Nelson Mandela briefly visited the United States. And it looks like a setup shot where it's like, oh, okay, come take a picture with Nelson Mandela for, donating $2,000 to this charity or whatever, how they do those things. That's Tony circa 1990.
Yeah, that looks like they were working very hard.
It looks like it's a staged photo, like a thing, like they do with the political events. Like if you're running for president, you pay 50 grand and you go stand next to the president and take the picture together. So it looks like you're an important person. That doesn't mean that you are giving him advice. It doesn't mean you're hired by him necessarily. And I love some of the comments on here. Some of his followers are like, "I love you, Tony, but Nelson Mandela is a war criminal." It's like, okay. Like there was more than one of those comments, and I was like, "Who are your supporters here?" Jesus. He's like, "This is a bad take."
But
Okay.
that gives you an insight into self-help audience, and I've been one. So you guys, for my past, this was before Princess Diana though. So these audiences are living in a completely parallel reality.
Oh yeah, I agree. And it says like he asked him questions and he gave him this whole life lesson and whatever, but I don't know.
And I'm sure Nelson Mandela was like, "Yeah, dude, I'm gonna listen to you."
Yeah. And back then he would have been what? So he's 60 now. So back in the 90s he would have been like what, 40? I mean, I guess you could be a prominent businessman. He didn't blow up till later though in life. So I think he was,
Sorry, go on.
No,
I
you're
think there's
good.
a little delay, sorry.
Oh, you're fine. No, you go. What were you going to say?
I was gonna say there is a literal Nelson Mandela place in the building in the middle of Glasgow,
Oh.
where I have a house for now. So the guy
For
who
now.
has buildings in other countries would take advice from Tony Robbins. There's
I
literal
mean-
buildings with his name on and streets with his name on.
Not as important. Tony Robbins has a private jet,
No.
so.
But no, but Tony knows what to tell this guy. He knows what this guy needs. He just
Yes.
does.
He's like,
Okay.
you know what I would have done?
Yeah.
I would have done exactly what you did. Good job. I support. And he's like, thank you for the advice. My God. You know what? I bet Tony Robbins is responsible. Remember when Nelson Mandela died and they had the funeral on TV and they had the guy doing the ASL and he was just making it up 100%, just going like this and had no training to do American Sign Language. Do you remember that?
I don't know this.
That was the biggest scandal. This guy was just he was, they were talking about okay, his legacy, his life, and this guy just gets on stage and just goes, none of it was
Okay.
actually real.
wasn't
People
words?
who were deaf were like, what the fuck is going on? this person is like a fraud.
The guy believed he could
He
speak
believed.
sign language. He manifested it.
Let me find it because it's not. I mean, it's funny. It's sort of funny in the grand scheme of the spectrum of funny and weird things to happen. It was kind of on the high list. It's sad that it was at Nelson Mandela's funeral, but yeah, the guy was a total fraud apparently. Here, I'll stand by, and then we can talk about Mother Teresa, who's surprisingly a controversial controversial figure. I didn't know that until recently.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Anyone that calls herself Mother something. Imagine me calling myself Mother Camellia. I'm not surprised.
Mother.
God and King, who is full of compassion, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, who has been gathered unto his
Okay, none of this is real.
remember him
He's just making it
for the
up.
righteousness which he has
So you
done.
think maybe it's in a different language?
No. They found out this guy is like literally he came from some random place and just was like, "Yep, I'm qualified."
Why?
I don't know.
Do you think maybe like his boss was like, you get on the stage and pretend I don't care.
Oh my god.
They asked for a sign language translator. You get on there and do this. I don't care how you do
He's
it.
like, I took an
I feel
online
like-
course. I took manifest my language course and I'm ready. Put me in, coach.
I feel like this is not his fault. I feel like the guy has just been like forced by his boss to do this.
I don't know. And it is like fake it till you make it. He's like, all right. Like Tony was the coach. Was like, you can do it. You can. He was actually not the coach for Nelson Mandela. He was Nelson Mandela's ASL coach. And this is the product. I'm just kidding. He's not. Don't sue me. I'm just joking. That is a joke meant for
Tony,
entertainment
don't
purposes.
sue us. Like
Tony,
just have us open your next conference instead. We can do it next to Rachel. You clearly don't have enough women on your stage.
I know you've really not been supportive of women in the past, but that's such a good opportunity for me and Camellia to come onto your stage. I'm glad to push
Somebody
all
just-
women behind for us to get ahead.
Oh yeah. Somebody just commented Mother Camellia and Daddy Zelensky, and that's all I want to manifest.
I like it. I mean, what would
I
I
was
be?
told in one of the comments of that TikTok that I kind of look like him, and I've never gotten a better compliment in my life. I was like, yes.
I saw that comment and I looked and I was like, yeah, I can kind of see it. I can see that.
Thank you.
I don't know
everybody.
why. It's I guess the face, the head shape, like you have a heart shape, I think, kind of, and so does he. Heart-shaped face where it like comes down.
I like that. I didn't
Yeah.
realize. I thought my face was very, very oval. But-
Oval, yeah, ovalish, heart-shaped. I don't know. I can see
Okay,
it though.
Okay.
I
So,
did see that
Daddy,
comment.
Zaddy, if
Zaddy
you hear this,
Slinsky.
we would have like the best looking kids, like for sure.
I agree. I mean, once everything calms down, hopefully, and
Yeah.
soon
You can just come visit.
we can put the ball rolling. Hopefully.
All right. So, Tony,
Okay, back to
back
Tony
to
and
you.
Mother Teresa. Speaking of mothers, here's Tony explaining. And now, I come from a local news background. I actually worked for this company's. So Fox has like a bunch of different affiliate channels, and they're all related. They're all owned. Not all of them, but some of them are owned by Fox. So these were one of our sister stations that I worked for. So I'm very familiar with the inner workings of this type of studio. This news. Anyone that comes in, they like do not question them at all. I don't understand. They like, especially when it's a
They
celebrity
don't
that's
have time.
yeah, they're just like they believe everything that you say. It's like so frustrating to watch these clips because there's no pushback whatsoever at all. And I'm gonna before the stream is over, I'm gonna bring up our favorite my favorite, gonna be our favorite hopefully, new news channel, that Daily Buzz thing that we talked about last time with the Putin, dear Putin, my mother thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
They all defended her. We're going to watch their reaction to Tony Robbins and what they think about him because they have the weirdest takes on all current events, especially things
Okay.
about him. But anyways, first things first. What did Tony Robbins coach Mother Teresa on? And what did he ask her? We're going to find out now.
On athletes and Olympic athletes, and I got to Nelson Mandela and Mother Teresa,
Wow.
and then I got to President Clinton, and it just grew.
What was Mother Teresa
Who's
doing
President
wrong
Quentin?
before
Clinton.
Oh, I thought
Highly-
you said Quentin. And I was like,
President Tarantino and I basically wrote, what's that, one of his movies? Pulp Fiction. He wrote Pulp Fiction as well. Very little known fact. I'm just kidding. So Clinton's one. Who are the other three? He's got a picture with Obama, but I don't know if Obama's going to claim Tony Robbins. I have a
I don't
feeling
think
he
any of them will, but yeah.
won't. I don't know. Okay, anyways.
athletes and Olympic athletes, and I got to Nelson Mandela and Mother Teresa.
Wow.
And then I got to President Clinton, and it just grew.
What was Mother Teresa doing wrong before she met you? If anything, I mean, come on.
Did she ever have a day where she felt like she got off on the wrong side of the bed?
No, you know what happened? She was in San Diego, and I don't know if you remember years ago, she got very ill, and they rushed her to the hospital. And I guess like 3 days into it, she left in the middle of the night. Can you imagine you're at the hospital and you lose Mother Teresa? And she wrote a note that says, "Thank you for your help, but I have to help people that are in need. I can't sit here." And she went across the border to Mexico. And she said, "If you really want to help, don't send me a hospital, send me a mobile medical unit." So in those days, I was friends with a very famous actor, and he and I were both fans of hers. And I said, "Why don't we just go buy this, you and I? Don't do a press conference. Just drive it across the border, let's give it to her. We'll get a chance to visit with her." And so anyway, bottom line, we did.
Do
And when
a
I was
press
with her,
conference?
I said, "It's such a pleasure to meet you. And I always want to learn about people." So I'd say, "Listen, I'm wondering what
He's so giving. He's not gonna self-promote until
I
later.
love where you paused. That is so great.
Reminds me of
So
Tom Cruise.
Tony, who is like spewing content right on left and left on every single platform, he said to Mother Teresa, "Don't bring a press conference with us," so he, the guy who's like in your face on every platform, is the one who's like, "Now me the attention this time when I'm with you."
Well, now, I looked this up. She gave a press conference, but he is not mentioned in this press conference. She actually attributes like someone else for paying for the mobile unit. So I did not find his name anywhere. Now, maybe that's why he's saying he didn't want the press coverage, because the press coverage that she talked about, he wasn't involved in. I don't know, but
Yeah, because it kind of sounds like if somebody wouldn't want a press conference with Tony Robbins, that would be her, not
Yeah,
him.
true.
It
like-
kind of sounds
yeah,
like
true.
he would die to be on that press conference.
there's no pictures either. I haven't seen a
I'm
picture of them yet.
I'm assuming all these presidents too. Tony was like, "Don't bring in the press.
Yeah, no. I just want to talk about you.
I don't want
openly.
anyone. This is embarrassing for me. I don't want anyone to see me with you."
I have nothing to sell except my entire life story and all of my tips for life, but I do not need your endorsement, even though I'm going
I
to put it
do
on my
not
website.
want the world to see me next to you. Like, I just bury these pictures. I don't care.
I think that
No,
sounds
but I
about
will
right.
tell them verbally. I will just say it.
I want to
I
be
just
in
don't want
control
anyone-
of the story. Yeah.
I don't want anyone to see it per se.
I want them to believe it in their mind's eye, but not see it in reality. Okay, this is almost like two more seconds, 20 more seconds. This is the question that he asked Mother Teresa.
So I'd say, "Listen, I'm wondering what juices you? What excites you? What makes you more excited than anything else?" And I'm thinking, juice you and none, maybe not the best term. And she looked and she said something I'll never forget. She said, "Tony," she said, "what excites me most is to see a person die."
Wait, that wasn't it. That was not me, I swear. I swear it wasn't me.
Oh my god.
We're gonna get sued. I swear my life I did not. That was my spirit guides convincing me to stop it there. It's like loading.
Tony's lawyer. This is just the
Look,
we both have trash internet. This is not.
there's thunder in the area, okay? The warnings are coming out. It's not my fault. God, that was so funny. Okay, maybe I could play it. Hold on.
With a smile
Wait,
on their face.
can I?
Die with a smile on their face. That was the complete sentence. Oh my lord.
Can I want to hear your comments, guys, because I saw Laura say that. No, Rach say that. So much stuff about Teresa has come to light. I want your comments about what's come to light because I have no clue.
I don't know for sure. And maybe we should do a Mother Teresa episode. Because that would be interesting and funny, I think. But I thought it was something about like if you're poor, you deserve it, or poor people don't deserve, something like that.
Like maybe Tony taught her the law of attraction. Hi, hey Frosty.
Thanks for subbing. Woo! Oh my god.
Okay, let's play it if it's working.
Okay. Can you hear the thunder in the background, by the way? There's like some big
No.
cracks of thunder here. It's scary.
Wow.
That was funny. Okay, I'm gonna play the full clip so we can show the judge later that I attempted to reconcile the the error.
A person die.
Sorry, let me go back. Okay, let me start over.
Tony, she said, what excites me most is see a person die with a smile on their face.
Wow.
I was like, wow, not
Okay, that was it. Die with a
That's still
smile on
like
their
that's
face.
still bad.
athletes and Olympic athletes.
Still not great, but better than my favorite thing is to see people die.
Still, just
Oh,
my favorite
Lord.
thing is to see people die with a smile. Like, I don't know if have you guys ever seen someone die? Because it sucks. I've seen my grandfather die, and
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was a kid, and well, I don't remember it very clearly, but I was there, so I must have.
There's Pitbull.
But it's not like a fun experience or anything.
No.
It's not like party time, like for it, like it is for Mother Teresa.
Mother Teresa's at the hospital.
Like,
Hey!
woo! Bring in the coke.
I need to. Here's Mother Teresa.
doing-
This is Mother Teresa at the hospital.
We had a small smile. I swear, you guys.
There you go. Okay, while we're on the Mother Teresa thing, let me pull up the article from 1990 that I dug up yesterday about her being in San Diego. This is why I got no work done yesterday whatsoever. I had like 3 projects I need to work on, and I'm like, you know what? Mother Teresa, 1990, sickness, San Diego. And that's where my day went. So if anyone from
Nice.
one of my clients are wondering where their projects are, I'm busy. Okay. It was in the San Diego Union Tribune. Okay, this is from 1992. So I was a year old. I was born in 91. You were born in 90, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you were 2 years old. So you remember this, right? You remember this clearly. Just joking. Okay.
No.
No. Silent pause. No. Okay, this is I'm assuming what he's referring to. So, okay. From her hospital bed in La Jolla, Mother Teresa began planning her next project, a mobile health clinic for the poor in Tijuana. A sign-up sheet tacked to her door at the clinic, hospital, whatever, filled up during the last few days with the names of doctors, nurses, and social workers willing to volunteer for the effort at an overflowing news conference. Okay, not even just a regular news conference, an overflowing news conference. Just before she left the hospital yesterday, Mother Teresa implored San Diegians, God, sorry if you're from San Diego, people from San Diego to take more responsibility for alleviating the poverty and suffering in Tijuana. Okay, they need tender, loving care, blah, blah, blah. Glowing with pride at the vigor of their 81-year-old patient, Mother Teresa's doctors said she has affected them greatly during her 20-day hospitalization for pneumonia and heart disease. Okay, and then the part about them paying for it. Okay. Dr. Charles Edwards, Scripps Clinic president and chief executive officer, said the prestigious institution, which doesn't accept indigent or Medi-Cal patients, will contribute in some ways to the mobile clinic. And then she did another at a press conference. She talks at a press conference, blah, blah, blah. But there's no mention of Tony Robbins being involved
So
whatsoever.
this is the press conference
That he didn't want.
where Tony was like, I don't want to be seen here.
Yeah, he didn't want to be. He didn't want to be there. It was in the
I
metro
thought he
section.
donates to all of the people and stuff.
He's a philanthropist. So is Marie Forleo, apparently.
But he
I saw
doesn't want
she's a
to be
philanthropist.
seen. Oh, they are all philanthropists, obviously. But like, I'm just shocked that Tony is such a philanthropist, but doesn't want to be seen doing philanthropy. You know, it's a big secret that he's only allowed to speak, not
Yeah.
show. Don't ask for proof.
Marketing 101, get a photo at the very least. And I mean, to be fair, this is 92, but cameras still existed back then.
Yeah.
You know. Seeing Tony Robbins in his 1990s outfits is quite a sight to see as well. Let me bring that up.
Yeah.
He
He looks very similar now. to what he looked like then. I wonder if this is all the Botox or all the ice frozen baths he takes, or
He looks the same. Yeah, I will agree. Okay, this is from him selling his audio tapes. I have not seen this clip. We don't have to watch the whole thing, but let's get a look
he
at.
looks like a cartoon. In it.
True. Yeah, he looks like a Clark Kent era type of like villain though. Like they like
Oh
Clark
my god, he
Kent and him.
so looks like Clark Kent.
Yeah.
It's
But he's like the anti.
Superman of philanthropy.
Yeah, I guess he looks like what's the one actor that played Superman and he got into the spinal accident? What was his name? God, I sound like Rachel Hollis. I don't know anyone's
gosh.
name.
I don't know.
Okay, well someone's in the comments letting
I'm
know.
the same.
The guy who he got in an accident on a horse and then he had a spinal injury and he was Superman back in like the 80s. Okay, let me know. All right, here's Tony selling his audio tapes, which apparently this is, according to this title of the video, a rare video. Christopher Reeves. Thank you, Caffeinated Angel. That's who I meant. Christopher Reeve. And Ada, thank you.
Tune in.
Oh, you cut out. What'd you say?
I was just making a very dumb comment that I already made. I'm just shocked at how much he looks like a cartoon. I don't understand why this is happening. Is that really just a poor camera quality, or what is the reason?
Yeah, this is like 460p resolution, to be fair, back in the day of tape, so it does kind of soften you a little bit. But it's not the 4K that we enjoy today. His voice sounds different.
You can see all of my flaws, you guys.
I know.
All of them.
I know. It's
Where
like
can we
every freckle.
source one of these like 80s cameras? Because that looks great.
We can implore the California filter, like Heidi Powell does. We can look like aliens. Oh, thank you, Marta.
Hi, Marta.
Welcome. Okay.
To basically give you
He's much more calm here too. So maybe this is where the beginnings of self-help circle jerking came from. I'll be on your podcast. You put a thumbs up on your book. You can be on my show. You can be in my whatever, my conference. And that's how it started.
His hair, like, I don't know. This is shocking to me. It looks like an animated version of Tony.
Yeah. The hair is odd. I'm trying to think of like what it looks like to me. It looks like, I don't know.
Like
What
a
is it?
wig?
Yeah, definitely looks like a wig, but it looks like the shape of something I've seen before. Like the top of a walnut or something. Like something
You watch
random.
cartoons?
Not in a while. Let me see. Top of a walnut. Let's see. It doesn't really look like it in my head. I don't know why. I was like, yeah, that's what it looks like. Like half of a walnut if that was on top. It's just all one piece, I guess, is the thing that I'm trying to focus on.
That was a lot of hair. That was a lot.
Side by side? Oh boy.
I don't know why. Like, seriously, like, what show is this that they made him look like a cartoon?
I think this is the things that he was selling to people to buy to learn how to sell their own crap. I think.
Yeah. Maybe, do you think maybe in like
Anyways.
20 years we'll be as successful as he is, and we would look back and be like, why did I look like a cartoon in 2022?
Do you think we look like cartoons now?
I don't know, but
I hope we look
hope
better
they-
by that point, not worse.
maybe they should bring back the cartoon style, because like you don't see like pimples and wrinkles and stuff. So
You just gotta we gotta get the filter app. We gotta get this live stream to have filters on it so we can be like on our stories where we got the dog ears and the rainbow mouth coming out. That's what we need.
Yeah. I would love that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm looking through the Trello board of stuff that I pulled yesterday. What do you want to talk about now? Do you want to
So
talk
you
about...
guys,
Sorry, go ahead.
one of the things that Tony has said that Rachel and Marie Forleo have repeated forever and ever and ever has been how important it is to be an extraordinary man, to get out of your way, to be extraordinary in every single part of your life, obviously. You can't just be good at your job. You also need to be an extraordinary father, and you also need to be an extraordinary husband.
Salesman.
So I don't know if you guys know, but like I was shocked to find out that Tony is divorced. So as far as his extraordinary husband thing went, he apparently cheated on his wife and then decided to ask her for a divorce eventually. Probably when she found out and she got mad. So
Becky.
he had a first wife. Her name is Becky, and
here's Becky.
Apparently, the reason for divorce. Becky is an artist, which is something I appreciate.
Looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Whoa. She kept the last name. She's like well, I shouldn't say they all. A lot of women do that. They keep their name, which I find interesting, especially after a dicey divorce.
I wonder if you're just like sick and
Easier.
tired of like going through like all the admin of changing your name.
Probably. That's why I don't think I'm going to do it in the first place. Keep mine.
Yeah.
Just because it's easier.
Yeah.
She's
So-
beautiful. Very pretty.
Yeah. But apparently Tony cheated on her, of course, and eventually they divorced at his request. It's important to
Oh, he makes
it's
that clear.
important it's important for him to let people know that he demanded the divorce even though he's the one who cheated on her.
Allegedly, right?
Well, I think allegedly, but they sounded pretty sure.
His wife sounded sure. She would know
Yeah.
best, I would assume.
So as far as Tony being an extraordinary husband to Becky, well, that didn't. Unless your extraordinary idea of a husband is someone who cheats on you, in which case, you do you. But he was not an extraordinary husband to Becky. But it turns out that he now has another wife, Sage. And it turns out that Sage was also married before him. And Sage's ex-husband sued Tony for essentially stealing his wife, which, as with lawsuits, I don't know if you guys know this, but I have experienced it on my own skin. The legal system is an industry, and they will take your money. So obviously Tony has a lot more money, so this ended up being turned around and against the guy who sued in the first place. However, it's interesting. Imagine that. Imagine being a man and you're like, you stole my wife. I'm gonna sue you for stealing my wife, which I love.
What crime is that committing? What crime are you saying that he committed? Not you, but is this guy? And I'm assuming it's Brad Hunter is the husband's name, I believe. Or unless
No, I
that's...
think it's John something.
Okay.
John, I can't remember. He's a businessman, but
Oh, John
essentially-
Lynch. Okay, I see.
yes. Yeah. So I love this title. The motivator self-helped himself to my ex-wife.
Oh, I gotta play the thing.
She's
Oops.
she swears that it's not true. But I mean, of course you would. So, oh, sorry, I'm cutting off. Sorry about that. My internet sucks. I don't know how I can go around it.
You gotta get that fiber. I heard Romania's got fiber now.
We have fiber already.
What?
This is it.
Dang. This fiber's supposed to be the best.
No, we had like excellent internet. We used to be like the second in the world.
That's what I
of
heard. Yeah.
speed and stuff like that. So I don't know what exactly. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but this year sucks.
It's your spirit guides. They're trying to cut you
So-
off from spreading the truth. As you freeze. You want me to read it? Want me to read the
Exactly.
article?
It's Tony manifesting. it's
Yeah, Tony's meditating on us right now and be like,
Yeah.
please shut them up. And then like the internet's going out. And it's working. Okay, so love the headline. Motivator self-helped himself to my wife, X. Okay, so self-help guru Tony Robbins' wedding plans are being marred by a furious ex-husband who's claiming the master motivator stole his pretty blonde wife. He must have a thing for blondes because both his women are blonde. John Lynch told the Vancouver Sun he discovered his then estranged wife, Bonnie Lynch.
oh my god.
Dang! Okay, hold on.
Melanie, thank you. That is so generous.
Yes, thank you so much. This I think deserves a song. Ready?
Why do you follow me if you don't already own my book?
This is insanity.
Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you so much. That's very generous.
Yeah.
Only $500 million more until we can be on the Tony Robbins level.
On Tony Robbins' stage,
Yeah.
we're manifesting. We have already opened for Tony Robbins.
We need to start womanifesting. That's
Yeah.
gotta be womaning. Women festing. Right? Manifest.
That sounds very dirty.
Womanifesting. Women
Festing on
festing.
women.
That's gotta be already stolen somewhere.
Yeah, probably in the porn industry.
True. Hey guys, that would be an interesting porno to watch, like a self-help group that getting together for like motivational meetings and then breaks
Yeah.
out. Forget the
that's
pizza scenario. We need like more involved storylines.
And that would be our monetization gone.
Yeah, sorry. And on that note, we will be accepting donations. Okay, sorry. I'm going to go back to reading. Okay. John Lynch, so that's the ex-husband. John Lynch told the Vancouver Sun he discovered his then estranged wife, Bonnie Lynch, 28, was dating the Svengali of self-help when he saw pictures of the canoodling couple in a tabloid. Now the Canadian businessman is suing Robbins for alienation of affection. That's a crime? Okay, what the hell? Charging that the lovebirds began their affair while the Lynches were still married. Okay, on Thursday, a Canadian judge granted Bonnie, who now goes by Sage. Uh-oh. That's what happens when you get into a cult. You change your name to like, Smoking Sunrise. I wonder if Tony made her change it to Sage to be a different person. Yikes.
There might be other reasons, because like apparently she had a sex tape that was handed to Tony's lawyer to be destroyed, and it was destroyed in the parking lot behind a fireman station, just to make sure it's safe, the destruction through fire. So
Well then.
but I don't like when I saw that I was like, so you had a sex tape. We don't know if this was with John or with someone else. But also you changed your name, so I wonder if she was perhaps in a different industry that she doesn't want to advertise.
I'm sorry that you don't have a job.
That's what Dave Hollis would say.
Sage, you don't have a job, okay?
Well, I guess Kim Kardashian, who, as we know, if you've seen her latest comments, is a self-help guru, business guru in the making, apparently. Kim Kardashian's claim to fame was a sex tape, so Sage could have actually been the biggest celebrity there ever was. She just didn't know that was a pathway forward, the blueprint to success in the 90s, I guess, or in the early 2000s.
I mean, do we even believe that she had any decision in the matter? Tony was like, no.
He's like,
Or you think that Tony gives her free agency over her own sex tapes?
I mean, doubtful, given his other personality traits. But you never know. She was a big part of the movie. I remember her being in the movie, and he was talking about Sage as someone who supports him and gets him motivated. Because I think it's important that he has kids and a wife, because then he can be relatable to many people in the audience, fathers and husbands and that sort of thing, and mostly women.
But it's interesting to me that his previous wife he divorced his previous wife because he cheated on her.
By his own choice.
Yeah, but it was his choice to divorce for sure. But also, in this case, and we don't know, it's alleged in this lawsuit that she was also cheating on her husband with Tony. So it's interesting to me that Tony is such a wonderful guy. Just look at Marie Forleo's eyes. They just tell you everything. And Rachel's right. Like when you see these two women just drooling over him
Fawning.
as if he's like a saint. It's interesting to me that he's been in just so much trash about women. Rachel herself might have or might have not called it, because she doesn't name names when it's important.
Yeah, for real.
But it's this with the wives, which is literally the two women that he was married to. And then there were also, I don't know how many allegations of misconduct at his own conferences when he was younger. I think BuzzFeed did an article.
I was going to say,
They investigated.
Yeah, we should look at that for a second. Okay, so that's basically the wife story, right? We've kind of summarized that pretty much.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. He seems to get out of a lot of trouble. People accuse him a lot, but he never seems to face big repercussions, at least.
This happened, this is similar. So this guy sued him for alienation of affection, whatever, but then also BuzzFeed got sued by Tony Robbins. Oh, because I don't know if I mentioned, but Tony Robbins turned it around and sued this guy, Sage's ex, for defamation of character, and of course Tony won because
that's hard to prove too. So they must have had something.
But he has all the time in the world and so much money, so not everybody can keep up with that.
True. As long as you can keep grifting the whole time, you're good.
But when BuzzFeed came up with this article, he also sued BuzzFeed. So he has a lot of money. If you can take on publications,
sure,
it's a lot of money because they already have legal teams, and they tend to be very well verbaged. And basically,
freedom of the press too protects you a lot. In school when I learned about media ethics and media law, I mean, you really have to knowingly lie and publish it anyways, and even then it's still difficult to prove in court because of freedom of the press in the United States. It's very difficult to win against a publication. That's why some of these more fringe websites what's that one that Hulk Hogan won? I forget. It was some website that Gawker. It was a gossip website. That's different. But a New York Times, I mean, they get sued all the time, and almost every time they get they're forgiven or they settle out of court or whatever, because it's to prove defamation in a public, well-respected media outlet. It's nearly impossible unless the person is knowingly committing a crime and trying to defame somebody. So I don't know what, do you know what happened to the BuzzFeed lawsuit? Is it over? Did it go through? What happened?
Well, the article is still up as far as I know.
Okay. But I mean,
So I don't think he would have won.
oh, true. Yeah. Yeah. This is creepy. By the way, this photo, I
Yeah.
think it's meant to be menacing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
He's
scroll
lovely.
down.
He's a lovely grandpa.
Yeah, well, here he is. I will say though, and I'm not a huge BuzzFeed fan, to be fair. I'm not like, I don't like Tony, so therefore I love BuzzFeed. I think they got a lot of ethical issues, especially with releasing records and stuff. I think they should be a little bit more diligent. But I don't know how I feel about these presentations sometimes, where it almost, they're leading you visually down a path to judge the person negatively. Like, this looks super creepy, but they're putting that photo there to make you feel creepy about it. Like, there's enough evidence there, I think, that shows how creepy he is. I don't really like how sometimes these are presented, but that's a personal gripe with media.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. Like sometimes there can be publications that you don't necessarily respect, but at the same time, I feel like they can have individual journalists that do really good jobs.
Oh,
So
totally. Yeah.
it doesn't, you know, I feel like we can take it case by case.
I agree.
That's how I do it, at least.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, it says Tony Robbins is the world's most famous self-help guru. Okay, this is the story he doesn't want you to read. Okay, we know that. Isn't this a little bit far?
Yeah, it's a bit cringe.
It's like, okay, we get it. Like, we get it.
We get it. We hate him. He's evil. He's a devil.
Yeah. Like, oh, but really? Like, okay, relax, BuzzFeed, post a listicle, whatever. Anyways, okay. It says leaked records reveal Tony Robbins berated abuse victims. So that I have heard. I will play those clips. And I think that's very important because that is part of his teaching, which is part of his brand, which is, I think, fair game to criticize for sure. And then former followers accuse him of sexual advances. Okay, Tony Robbins claims he has helped millions of fans overcome some of life's darkest difficulties, but leaked records reveal he has used his fame to berate victims of rape and violence, while female former staffers and followers have accused him of inappropriate sexual advances. So it's only part one. Okay. You want to here? I want to find the video. Oh, here it is. Okay. So we can go back and read the part, but let me play. This is him during a conference, I believe, where he's giving advice to abuse victims. Advice. I say that very loosely.
As usual.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Let me turn this down a little bit because it's low. Okay.
She likes to call it emotional abuse. What the fuck is emotional abuse? Are we that fucking weak that someone can't tell you with passion what they fucking feel without them abusing you? Tell me about that. What led to that? What role did you play? I'm not suggesting there's any excuse for hitting women, so hear me. But I also want you to know that people don't just act a certain fucking way. But what I find when I usually dig in and I take the time, what they call abuse is a relabeling of they didn't like what the person said or did. Has he loved you? Has he looked out for you? Has he put up with you when you've been a crazy bitch? Have you ever been a crazy bitch? Ever? Probably. Shouldn't this guy be out strung up and shot? The way you described it, certainly should. And I would normally join you if I didn't know you were lying. Not that you're lying that he is not behaving ways that are great all the time, or even harsh. But just, I know by your body that you're lying. I know by the words, I know by the context that you're lying, because nobody is evil in every moment, or you wouldn't have been there for 7 years.
I know by your body that you're lying.
Wow.
Sounds to me like he believes in his mind all women lie. And I think that was like a Freudian thing, perhaps. Yikes.
That sounded to me like projection a little bit. Like,
Totally.
oh yeah, my wife is also a bitch, and this is, when I do it, I'm great the other times. But when I do it, it's because she's done something. That's how it sounds to me. I hope Sage is not a victim.
I hope so too. I mean, I hope he's got kids as well, adopted kids and kids, I think biological kids as well. I mean, I would hope that he doesn't have these mindsets while he's interacting with them. Because, yeah, what's to say a child makes mistakes, isn't always perfect, does crazy stuff to deserve whatever, you know. I think it's exactly why people don't come out and say that they've been abused, because of this mentality where it's like, well, what did you do? What were you wearing? Did you lead them on? Like, that's the type of comments and rhetoric that has made people not come forward about abuse claims, which is never good.
And it's often because of the men. So it's often women who don't come out because men tend to drown women's voices anyway and turn everything around. At least I know that every guy that I dated has done this, where everything that has happened that, you know, I would call them out for, they would turn it around and be like, it's because of something I did or it's whatever. So that every single guru that has mentioned YouTubers has always turned it around and said it's our fault because we're mean girls, and like, you know, not all of them have commented, but those who have commented always said it's our fault for talking about it. Every time you call someone out in public, like you will be
Troll,
told.
hater.
I don't know if just women, but I was told even more recently when I called out my ex on Instagram stories, and he's blocked on my Instagram, so he has no way of seeing it. But I'm assuming that other people are sending him, and I was literally berated by some of the people that I thought were my friends. And he was the one like being a dick. So and they didn't care. They just couldn't believe that I would say anything like that and disrupt the vibe.
Good
And I
vibes
was like,
only.
okay.
Positive talk. Well, I remember you posted something. It was like, it was very eye opening to me, because you said no one wrote to me and said anything when I was happy with him, or I would say that we had a great time. No one was up my ass about that. But when I say something's negative, everyone's like, don't say that. Don't say that. It's like the instant reaction is just like, oh, only positive talking is allowed. You can talk about your boyfriend immediately for everything, but not mean things or true things.
And these were actual like people that I was friends with. And like close friends with, and they did that, and they're essentially victim blaming, because it wasn't like a big deal, but I was begging him to send me a picture of my card that was sent in the post, and he would just made me beg for like days and days on it, and I was just like frustrated, so I posted about that. So it's not like a big deal, but still, like, it was like not me who was at fault. And of course they said it was my fault for talking about it, and then their justification was, oh, you're a YouTuber and you have a lot of followers, and when people see stuff that is negative, you know, they will send him hate or stuff like that. And I was like, nobody sent him hate. Like, he didn't say anything about receiving any messages from anyone. So why are you coming up with this justification when in fact I posted pictures with him before? Nobody sent him love.
Exactly. Like, that was what it was. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, good point. Good for you, Cam.
Yeah.
I was like, I agree. No one cares unless it's like, oh my God, it could be negative. It's like, who cares? Things happen. Why is it your business to preemptively stop something from happening like that? If it was horrible and like over the top, that's one thing. But it's like, it could be interpreted and could be used in this. It's like, relaxed.
That's fine. It was just them like defending their stance essentially. And part of the reason I posted it on Instagram was because the friend that I messaged, because she was the one who sent the screenshot to him, because I
knows what I'm talking about.
Sorry.
Because I hadn't, like I said, he's blocked, so he can't see anything. So I just tried to talk to her, and she was like, so many people messaged me about this. And I was like, oh, so there's lots of people like thinking like you in this situation. So I was like, okay, well, in that case, I'll post on Instagram if there's multiples of you.
Yeah.
But I think that was just her justification for
Yeah.
essentially being a dick to me. But anyways, doesn't matter.
I'm sorry.
You know.
Well, I mean, the good thing is there at least are people that are talking about it now. There's people that have platforms, and this type of conversation is more common than it was, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. So over time, I would like to imagine that it's going to compound and that people will be more able to talk about, no, it's not your fault if you were the victim of abuse, or even in a situation with a significant other that ends. You don't have to always make it look like, oh, well, we ended amicably. It's like, just be honest, tell who you want to tell, and then move on. Doesn't always have to be like, oh, it was a perfect relationship and everything was great. It's like not to bring her up again, but sorry, go ahead. Oh, you froze. Camila has froze. She has frozen over. It's a good pose. It looks like a profile photo. She's still frozen. Okay. Camellia, when you're ready to come back, when Tony Robbins releases you from the angels or whatever is working in his favor today, we'll have you comment. In the meantime, let's watch about the woman who confronted Tony Robbins about the Me Too stuff, because this is a big part of his history too, and I think ties in well with the other women and stuff. Women issues. And I saw someone commented, mommy issues. I think you're spot on. I mean, that's my interpretation as well.
Who knows what I'm talking about here? Say
Tony Robbins, the self-help guru who famously encourages his clients to walk on fire, is now being raked over the coals himself after igniting controversy with his comments about women in the workplace.
If you use the Me Too movement to try to get significance and certainty by attacking and destroying someone else, you haven't grown an ounce. All you've done is basically use a drug called significance to make yourself feel good.
Robbins was speaking.
Okay, let's watch that little clip again, because I think that's very interesting. And obviously this is part of a longer conversation that it seems like he was having with his followers, but, let's take it for what it is for this.
Raked over the coals himself after igniting controversy with his comments about women in the workplace.
If you use the Me Too movement to try to get significance and certainty by attacking and destroying someone else, you haven't grown an ounce.
Okay, so to give this not context, because I don't know what the context was, but I can. Oh, wait, Camelia's here. Hello.
Hey, apologies.
Welcome back.
It's just completely happened.
That's okay. Sorry about that. You had frozen on like a very good freeze frame though. It was very it was like a very, I don't know, like a stoic look. So it was.
That's good.
Yeah, I think it was a good moment
I would
to leave.
freeze like Tony with my like fingers in that.
Screaming obscenities. Captured it. Yeah. No, it looks good.
Mother Teresa loves people dying.
Yeah, Mother Teresa's like, woo! I love that. I love that for you. Okay, so I started playing this video, which is like an ABC News report about Tony's issues with speaking about Me Too to people in his crowd. And basically, he said that, okay, so I'll play the clip again. Sorry, everybody. But we're really going to understand. We're going to know this word by word by the end of this. This is at one of his conferences. I don't know where, but, obviously there's thousands of people there. And this got him in a lot of hot water. So this is the first part of what he said.
After igniting controversy with his comments about women in the workplace.
If you use the Me Too movement to try to get significance and certainty by attacking and destroying someone else, you haven't grown an ounce. All you've done is basically use a drug called significance to make yourself feel good.
Okay. So this is something I hear commonly when it comes to, especially like on college campuses, and when it comes to men, male's word, men's word versus a woman's word. It's like, well, the risk of destroying an innocent man's career or an innocent man's reputation is worth denying the woman's accusation. Or that seems to come up a lot. It's like, well, what about the man's reputation? It's like, I can understand, like, yes, somebody might out there go and like make a false claim, but isn't that with anything? Isn't that with like falsely accusing someone of hurting you or murdering or something? Like, yes, of course there's risks involved, but there's also prosecution that comes with that if you're caught. There's perjury under, you could be found guilty of a lot of things. So how is this any different? I think it's just because it's such a gray area, because it's like abuse and it's like, relationship and what is consent and all those like kind of gray area questions. So yeah, in the extreme case that 1 out of a million women probably would say, I'm going to make this up just to get significance and to become famous. I don't think that's the norm, and therefore why are we teaching it to a large group of people who it doesn't really apply to? Does that make sense? I know it's a touchy subject.
I think it's a patriarchy. We live in a patriarchy, you guys. If we didn't know until now, we have now found out. So I think like men will do anything to defend men.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of these instances. And I actually had an interaction recently with 2 of my colleagues who, nothing like that, but basically they were just showing, like extreme respect to each other, like in this group chat, like, oh, my sir, like stuff like that, very like high respect. And I was just like shocked, and I was like, wow, I mean, I guess the girls should also expect, to be held in such respect. And then one of the guys literally said, yeah, us men respect each other. And I was very like just taken aback, because like obviously these things, but like nobody said it to me. Nobody said, yes, as a man I respect other men. Yeah. And it was like so shocking. And I was like, and he said something like, don't you girls do it? And I was like, I mean, I never thought about it. Like, I respect everyone. Just like I never was like, oh, I'm going to respect women more,
only,
or like,
yeah,
or only, yeah. But obviously for them, it's like, and it was like, obviously this was in a really fun environment. It was just like a joke that was going around essentially, but still was very shocking to just see that written on black and white, or black on blue, or black on green, because it's WhatsApp. But
yeah, true. I feel like that's a very human thing to do. And it's not necessarily a good thing that humans do, but we tend to categorize things. We tend to, whether it's positive or negative or whatever, we'll put things in categories. Like, you're the type of person who does this, so it helps our brains to organize the very big nuances that are part of daily life. So I can understand why you say, okay, I am a man, therefore, I should try to go and find other men to interact with. Because I need to interact with them, I should respect them, because that's what, everyone deserves, but I am looking to interact with them more than women, whatever. Okay, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, is that you're respecting men despite women, or you just happen to be around men more? That's where it becomes like, I don't know. It's tough. I don't. It's because it's not like I go look at women and be like, oh no, I see you the same as men. We're all equal, because that's not necessarily true. I understand a woman's perspective much more than I understand a man's perspective. But I hope that I would treat them both the same in my daily interactions. I don't know.
But like, this is the way he said it makes total sense when you think about the fact that there's just mostly men in conference rooms, in most companies, in most industries. There's a lot of men at the top, and when a woman tries to,
thanks, Jenny.
Hi, Jenny. When a woman tries to speak up, sometimes like her ideas, and I'm sure that we've all been in these situations where your idea will be repeated by a man and suddenly it's a good idea, but when you said it nobody heard it. Or like there's just so many things like that, and when he said that, it like made sense. Yeah, because you respect each other more than you respect women. And obviously I wasn't gonna ruin the vibe because the vibe is important, but like but it was so shocking to hear it from a guy. Obviously it's still a group chat, so it wasn't in face to face.
Sure.
But if this conversation had been happening face to face, this would have been words that I would have heard said to me, and I thought it's shocking. Just because it's something you always know. It's it's a thing. You know it happens,
Sure.
but they don't tell you.
Yeah, it's like but they don't think it's it's not negative necessarily because they're comfortable saying it. It's like, oh, of course, like, yeah, of course we respect each other as men, as fellow men. But I think women do it too.
No, he doesn't think it's negative, and I'm pretty sure that any man would not think it's negative.
Yeah.
But it's negative. You're discriminating. You're looking at women and you decide, I'm gonna give more respect to the man and less respect, even if you don't necessarily think those words. That's what you're doing. When you give more respect to men, subconsciously, you're discriminating against women. And I just, it's so fascinating.
I agree. I think that's interesting, and to see it and to hear it and kind of be not be presented with it in a negative way, but like, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And to see it, I can understand being a little bit more eye-opening, I suppose. The one Me Too thing I have is a story from a workplace. Is when I worked at a newspaper, this older guy, I was his manager, which was not a good idea, but he had been at the company for like 45 years, and I was 26 at the time, 25, 26, and it was when all the Me Too stuff broke, when it first happened, and people were talking about it, Time's Up and the Harvey Weinstein stuff, and it was like kind of popular at that moment. And this older man, who is my subordinate technically in the company structure, came up to me and said, "Oh, I like your hair today." "Oh, wait, am I not supposed to say that anymore? Sorry, me too." And I was like, what the fuck? What is that? Like, okay, now I have to feel like now my response has to be, "Oh, ha ha ha. Don't worry about it. Thank you so much. I'm not that type of," like, then I felt obligated to be like, I'm not the kind that's going to care about you saying my hair is, I'm not going to accuse you of, sexual. So it's like, but why am I then now lowering my own standard of, well, I have to be the cool girl that's cool with everything, but I'm also his manager. It's just like, I don't know. I think it put women in a lot of uncomfortable situations.
It sounds a bit confrontational because he, of course, like chose a compliment that isn't going to be classified as Me Too, only to use that argument. Because like otherwise, why would you? Because if you really had an argument that would be classified as Me Too in that time, like and now hopefully it's still going, you probably would be like, oh shit, what did I fucked up. But like he chose a compliment that was like mild, so that he can have a little fight with you.
Yeah, it was to be like facetious, like, oh, ha ha ha, like, oh, I don't want to get Me Too to ha ha because all you women are so sensitive. But I feel like that's the same vibe Tony is having here, is he's like, oh, it's really bad for women to use this to get significance and to whatever. It's like, is that what's happening? Or is it that a lot of women are coming forward because finally we feel comfortable to be able to speak about these things? Isn't that more the issue than, oh, men are going to be somehow victimized in this? How about we look at the real victims that are in these situations, that are coming out with their story? Use discretion, use common sense to decipher who is, lying or whatever. But is that the bigger problem? Shouldn't it be that people who've been abused should be able to come out?
It's the fact that he's also saying you're doing it to get significance. There's women who were afraid to lose their jobs and they still came out and talked about it. The reason people have not spoken up about it is not because they wanted significance and this was the only way to get it. That's not what this was. The reason why they didn't speak out was because it wasn't safe. Like if you speak out against your boss, who's a man, you're going to get fired. Like this isn't just a joke. You're gonna lose your livelihood. You're gonna lose your income.
Yeah.
So people shut up because of that. And then suddenly there was a frame of events in which it was okay to speak out. So it's not because, oh my god, suddenly I want to get significance. I don't care about significance, but like you were silenced for by circumstance, by the fact that you couldn't speak out safely and until that moment. So in that moment you had an opportunity to say the thing that maybe has plagued you for I don't know how long. Like,
and it seems demeaning to me too that he's saying that a woman could only, when he's not saying only, but a woman could get significance by being abused by a man. Like that somehow is bringing in my life more significance than just me achieving a goal or me living the way I want to live. That somehow being abused by a man is going to give my life significance by telling my story about it. That's kind of insulting. Not even kind of, it definitely is insulting. And what you said about the working and getting fired, he's going to talk about that in a minute, so we can kind of go back and play, because he talks about that, about getting actually someone not getting hired because they're a woman, which is discriminatory to say it nicely.
Yeah. Illegal.
Yeah, and illegal at the worst. Okay, here we go.
Robbins was speaking at one of his Unleash the Power Within events last month when he made the statement.
So Nadine, tell me something. What's your concern?
The San Jose arena was packed with attendees, among them Nanine McCool, who questioned what Robbins was proclaiming.
So I have lots of Me Too stories, and I'm also a survivor of violence in my home as a child. And I think it was the Me Too movement that gave me the courage to speak up. I thought, oh gosh, you know, Tony Robbins, you've got this all wrong.
So I think you misunderstand the Me Too movement. I think the Me...
Not for you personally. What you're seeing is people making themselves significant by making somebody else wrong and getting certainty. And there's nothing wrong with that, it just won't make you happy. I'm not knocking the Me Too movement. I'm knocking victimhood.
But McCool...
And I love how he cuts her off in the middle of her explaining, like, I think you haven't misunderstood. He's like, I haven't totally understood. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. It's like, you're not the one to be able to explain what the Me Too movement means to her. Sorry, you're not.
But he wasn't just about to let someone kill his vibe.
Yeah. It just
because the thing is, like, if she was able to speak, maybe she had a point. So you can't allow points to be made.
Well, it's like you talked about before. It's like if someone gets a brain, then all of a sudden now they're going to be a threat. So cut them off before they can speak or think. That seems to be his tactic. Like cut them off.
Speak over her. Use your power as your power play as a guy on stage to speak over someone. Potentially just maybe send someone to get her microphone away from her, because why would she need it?
He controls it.
When she should shut up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just put on a skirt and shut up.
Just be pretty, okay? God, why do we have to talk so much and have feelings? It's so inconvenient for men that women have to have feelings too. God. I rue the day that women could speak. That's Tony. That's Tony's morning routine. Ruining the day that women were able to vote. Okay, I'm sorry. That was a joke. All right, let's continue.
Cool doubles down on her defense of Me Too, a movement organized to empower sexual harassment victims.
And certainly there are people who are using it for their own personal devices. But there are also a significant number of people who are using it not to relive whatever may or happen to them, but to make it safe for the young women.
Robbins invites Nanine to join him, pushing his point and pushing.
This is kind of effed up, in my opinion, this part.
Her.
Put out your fist. Why are you pushing back? I didn't tell you to push back. Why are you pushing back? Why are you pushing so hard? When you push someone else, it doesn't make you more safe. It just makes them angry.
Apparently,
okay, my life is not revolving around not making you angry. Sorry. That's not my lot in life, is to make sure that you're happy at all times, Tony Robbins.
He's terrifying in that moment.
physically touching someone, especially a person in power, a person that's like 7 feet tall, 6'7" above you, like that to me is a threat. You're being
he's
threatening.
huge. He looks strong, and in that moment, just watching that, I'm like, I would not want to be Sage.
No, it's to humiliate her, to cut her off while she's speaking. Thanks, Noelle.
Hi, Noelle.
Cut her off while she's speaking, and then have her stand up. So demand her to physically do something, and then touch her, and then have her be pushed by and show how strong he is. And it's also like what he said at the end, like, "Oh, why are you pushing so hard? I didn't tell you to do that." It's like, so am I supposed to take a man, like, or anyone, not even a man, anybody else but myself? I have to hear demands from you and listen to it, or else I'm insignificant? No.
So it's like, okay, so does he want like someone who's being abused or being threatened physically and stuff not to react?
Like, what was
so
the
that
correct
that
answer?
Other person not get angry? No, I think you will react. Like, it's impossible not to react when somebody's like pushing you.
Physically and psychologically. And I think that, in my opinion, because he's very, like I said, he's very smart. He's very in tune with how a mass audience reacts to seeing things, to feeling things. Like, everything in his conferences seem to be pre-planned and strategic. Like, they have music at a certain time, they make them stand at a certain time, all to sell more product and to get this like wave of emotion, to feel something so that they want to come back again and again. So I would say his point of doing that is to show the audience she's weak. This woman's mind is weak, this woman's words are weak, she's weak, I'm literally pushing her and embarrassing her. Don't listen to her, listen to me, I'm strong and powerful. That's what I think, the symbolism of that.
Is this her who took the mic?
Yeah, that's her, and she's speaking about it, and she left the conference afterwards because she didn't like it.
So she tries to make a point about Me Too, and he calls her up in front only to push her?
Yeah. She said, you got it wrong about Me Too. It's not, because he said the first thing that he said about, oh, they're just using it for significance. She gets the mic and says, well, I think you have it wrong. And I think she's very respectful. She's not like, fuck you, she's like, okay, trying to explain it, like a lot of women do, not to like stereotype the whole gender, but a lot of women will try to empathize and to explain and to understand and to like reason and all these things that a lot of other people don't do, and he's just not having it. Nope, you're wrong.
So what is his point though? Like, he is trying to say that, she's saying, okay, so this happened, the Me Too thing is valid. And he's like, look, it's not. Or
basically,
like, what is the point that he's trying to make?
Well, he's basically, and it goes on a little bit, so he'll get to this at some point, but he's basically saying like, well, what about the men? What about the men? Yeah, women are getting all this attention. They're getting all, and someone said in the comments, like, he probably got triggered.
Like, for once.
Yeah, for once. And for the reason of, oh, she was a victim of a crime, and I, from personal experience too, until you've been a woman in these situations where you've been approached, I've been approached many, many times out at events when I'm working, hit on by coworkers, like put into awkward conversations, been emailed things from people at work where they say like, you look really pretty today, in this like creepy way. Like, until you've gone through that and you have to feel uncomfortable and you have to look and see, okay, is this worth bringing up to anyone? Am I going to lose my job? Am I going to be targeted at work? And you have to weigh your options. You can't understand what we're going through. I don't think anyone's hitting on Tony Robbins and saying like, hey baby, like meet me, in the coffee room or whatever. But that happens to women all the time. And it's like, as a man, you're like, well, it never happened to me. And also he's huge and can handle himself. I'm 5'5", you're 5 feet tall. If someone wanted to physically overtake me, I have no repercussions other than like pepper spray, like that's just the reality.
I had a situation, probably many, to be honest, where I was followed home by a guy, and I was young. I was a teenager, so I was probably at a stupid stage of my life where I would find that flattering. But he followed me. It was at night. I was coming back from somewhere, and it was dark. And he followed me. He was flirting with me. Obviously, he's trying to have a conversation, and I thought like he would just leave at one point, you know. But no, he followed me right up until I got home, to the point where I had to enter a different building so that
Scary.
he doesn't know where I live. And this probably happened a lot because
So common.
it was just so like accepted that women just go through this. Like,
Yeah.
nobody's
totally.
like, oh, yet another one. Like, you know, nobody was just like outraged or whatever. This has just happened to girls all the time.
Well, it's I think men maybe, and in this case for sure, it seems like, oh, all of a sudden everyone's been attacked. All of a sudden it's like, no, this has been 20 years, 50 years of cases that people are finally, because this moment is allowing us to speak out about it, is allowing all these things to come forward without the repercussions of you're standing alone on an island. I mean, the first person who called out Harvey Weinstein, did not get anyone on their side. They looked like an asshole and got like, you know, targeted by the industry. It wasn't until like the 10th person came out that it was like, okay, something's here. And then the, you know, media picked it up and it just so happened to take off. But this is not just like, oh, all of a sudden we're coming out with it. It's like all of a sudden the moment's right to be able to speak about these things. And I think it's misconstrued as like, oh, all of us need to be careful. We can't hire women anymore because they're going to accuse us of sexual assault. It's like, that is so unfair.
I heard this several times, like mostly on TikTok, I'll be honest. I've heard it, and it's always like, okay, but what do you mean we can't be ourselves anymore, or we can't be free? Like, what does it mean to be yourself? To just like harass women? That's you being yourself? Well, in that case, my dude, you have a problem. It's not that you can't be yourself. It's that you can't do illegal things to women.
And I this is going to go a little off topic, but I hear this argument too a lot when it comes to like the child, I don't want to say the word, but CP, let's put that together, CP, people who are accused of that. I hear the argument a lot of times like, well, maybe the people they were looking at, the children were 17 and they couldn't tell. And that's the argument I hear a lot. Like, well, maybe it was like misconstrued, or maybe they like, you know, they didn't know. But then you read the police report and it's like the CP is of someone who's 2 years old. And it's like, okay, there's no confusing that. Usually the cases that get up to such a high level where they're prosecuting or that it's getting national media attention, it's not just like, oh, a guy made an offhand comment in a happy hour about something as a joke, and those aren't the cases that are being talked about at this high level. These are like, I lost my job, I was forced to like be in the room while he was, you know, undressing. Like, those are the ones that are going to get that attention. So the fact that he's equating like, oh, it's no big deal, it's like it's not accurate.
Yeah, and it sounds like also his defense to when women say that about him.
Yeah,
like you're trying to get significance out of someone as famous as me.
Yeah, as if that's the only reason that anyone would accuse somebody.
And you know what? If I was in that case, in that situation, and I was a victim of Tony Robbins, I would like to get significance from it. Thank you.
I would like to be, you know, at least heard. That's it.
I like to be heard, and if the significance comes, more than happy to take the stage and claim my significance.
He loves significance more than anyone else probably on the planet.
I don't understand why shouldn't I be allowed to have significance? Like, why exactly is the significance just good for Tony but not for me?
Yeah, that's a good point. I agree. I mean, it makes it seem like that should be something you should be ashamed of as a woman, to want significance and to want anything.
I'm not ashamed at all. I want the significance. I know what he's trying to do is say that that's the only reason you're doing it, but there can be multiple reasons why you're doing it. It can both be true, and you might also want to get significance.
He literally says he says that exact line, but the opposite. Says you cannot have both at the same time. He says
yes, you can.
I know. He said in the Rachel Hollis interview, he says it's physically impossible to be grateful and also fearful at the same time. I'm like, you're fucking insane. That's not true at all. What science is providing that study that you?
That is something that all of them have said, including Marie Forleo. All of them say this. Like, that's where exactly? I don't know. The thing is, nothing that they say is ever backed by science. I don't know about Mel Robbins, the 5-second thing, but the only reason I don't know is because she's claimed that she has so much medical research that proves it. So that's the only reason I'm saying that. But she could also have the kind of medical research that Tony has in this book. So, you never know. But the thing is, none of the things they say are backed like by anything legit, by anything that isn't themselves saying it, or another self-help guru saying it, or another interview on some other platform with a self-help guru, because like those are the only, and they're all biased, they're all going in one direction. You need to discount those. You need to find like third-party sources that have nothing to gain from either side.
Well,
that's
that's like MLMs too, the same thing. They're like, oh, we're the #1 brand for this. It's like, okay, the study was done by a company that was hired by the Monat brand. It's like, okay, I'm not gonna trust that. It's like with anything. It's like, oh, the council on whatever. It's like, yeah, the council on whatever is created by Shell gasoline, and they're saying that gas is fine. Go studies show that gasoline is wonderful. It's like, and it's so exhausting. I'm exhausted by going through all this stuff and trying to find out the truth. No one can do it all the time. So it's like,
and the reason the reason they get so often away with it is because they tend to say things that make sense at like surface level,
Sure.
that seem like
could be true.
That could be true, and that seem like, oh, how have I not thought of it this way? And the reason often you don't think about it that way is because that's not the right way to think about it.
Yeah.
So, but you suddenly think maybe I can just like interpret things this way, and they come up with like these like very basic rules of thumbs, like you. Even the thing with water, like Rachel has pushed that so many times. You have to drink 8 gallons of water, or I don't know how much. That has been heavily debunked by medicine. You need to drink when you're thirsty. That's it. Like, that's it. There is no proof that drinking 8 gallons of water will make you lose more weight, or that it makes you better as a human being.
Being a better mom, because I drank water today. But that's what the line that they'll put you down. Like, well, once you drink water, then you're better at, cognitive ability, and better cognitive means you're a better mom. So therefore, drinking water, that's the correlation. It's like, okay, thanks.
There is that. And there is also the part of the myth that is so annoying to me. Is because like the water that you retain most comes from food. And you like, if you have like a salad, that water is more easily or more, I don't know how to explain it because I don't know the science of this, but I've read like articles that have debunked this myth, and they were explaining how you are getting water from all sorts of sources, including food, and that's like essentially the point of that was that the water you're drinking is more easily
flushed or something.
More easily flushed, so the water that you're eating with like fruit, with like vegetables, stuff like that, that is like absorbed into your body more than the water that you drink. So essentially
it's like vitamins versus food. It's like, okay, your nutrients are better absorbed through food than for a supplement. Supplements don't really work that much. You can't even trust them because they're not backed by any FDA certifications. It's all the same.
And by the way, Tony Robbins sells supplements, loads.
A lot of them. A ton of them.
And he's about to sell this new thing that will surely be approved by the FDA. Surely. Any day now.
Just you wait.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, like, drink water. It's good for you. But, like, there is no need to, like, go to the bathroom every 5 minutes because Rachel Hollis has said this in 1,000 videos.
Hydrate.
Because that's a total myth. And like everyone believes, my mom believes it, everyone thinks that, and I'm like, I go crazy every time. I'm like, it's a myth. You don't need to drink more water than you need to drink. That's it.
I agree. I'm on the PSA with you. I support it. I love water. I drink a lot of water, and I do think sometimes I can tell when I need more, but I don't think there's one set amount, and definitely I'm not going to take it from Rachel Hollis regardless of But the truth is. Okay. And then also, I see people are talking about Shallow Hal. I hope I can play it because it's a Jay Leno interview, but Ben Stiller talks about Tony Robbins on Jay Leno, and it's kind of like a funny moment because he's kind of shit-talking him, and then you'll see what happens. So we'll play it, and if we have to cut it later, we can. But we'll get to that after this part because I think this is very important to dive a little bit into this whole accusation stuff because it's significant and relevant. Okay.
It's something he does at a lot of his seminars, is pushing exercise, but I didn't know where he was going with it. I'm a tall woman, I'm 5'8". He is so big, and when he stepped up to me right at first and he looked down on me, I triggered because he looked angry.
And the larger-than-life personality continues.
So I just with someone the other day, very famous man, very powerful man, who's saying how stressed he is because he interviewed 3 people that day. One was a woman, 2 were men. The woman was better qualified, but she was very attractive, and he knew I can't have her around because it's too big a risk, and he hired somebody else. I've had a dozen men tell me this.
Tell me how this is a woman's problem, how this woman needs to fix this problem, how this is anything to do with a woman needing to change her mindset about this issue. That is amazing mental gymnastics to be able to get from there's a guy, a CEO that wants to hire an attractive woman but can't because he is going to be accused. Therefore, you have to change your mindset as a woman. What?
Yeah. Welcome to the patriarchy. Logic doesn't belong here.
That's a little bit ridiculous. Not even a little, a ton ridiculous. Like, and then somehow it's this woman's fault for supporting the Me Too movement that that other woman didn't get hired. That's convenient.
And the crazy thing is, this is so embedded in every freaking man. Every single man.
Don't say that.
To some extent.
Because we don't know.
Like,
some men.
Okay, no. I would say that even those who are aware and are allies and are fighting against it, they still grew up with these mentalities. They were instilled into
the messages
people
were there.
by society. Yeah,
I agree.
like I've heard like multiple people talk about how, you know, when they had a daughter, everyone was like, oh my God, you're so beautiful, you're so cute. And when they have a son, they would be like, oh, you're so strong, you're so like, you know, the messaging society just brings on to children since they are like toddlers is insanely misogynistic. So it's crazy to hear it from Tony, but at the same time it's scary because this is, and I don't know if this is just because maybe like Romanian men are not as like aware of these things culturally yet, aware of these like the fact that women have started to wake up to these things, but like it's way worse in Romania for some reason than it was in the UK. In the UK, it was still happening, but it wasn't so overt. Like here, men are very like, oh, if I will always pay for the bill, but you know, that comes with the expectation that you will do your duty as a woman, like stuff like that. You know, like I feel like
traditional.
It's traditional, exactly, traditional masculinity. But don't you dare question them on anything, really, because I've heard this like.
Sorry,
I've heard this like my sister's friend who literally said, I know us women should shut up sometimes.
About what?
And like not question, because her boyfriend is toxic. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
And she was just frustrated and talking to my sister, not to him, of course, because she couldn't possibly like, you know, tell him that he had done anything wrong. But like I was like, this is just everywhere. It's everywhere in like both women's mouths and men's mouths. Like it's just everyone is talking about these things and they're unaware just how damaging they are.
Yeah, I agree. And I was going to say to that point that men who actively are trying to hear us and fight against this are even, I think, deserve more credit because they're fighting against these systems that have been put onto them, like, oh, men need to be the leader of the house or whatever, or women need to put in their place, or women shouldn't be hired because blah, 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 they're going to accuse you. So if you're a man who's doing those things, actively working against that, like I have 1,000% respect and appreciation because as much as it sucks, and it's like, I feel like, you know, a lot of men are in the Tony Robbins mindset, the more men that aren't, you know, I will be aligned with them. I'm not going to say all men are horrible and I hate them all. It's like, no, the ones that are supportive, we're a
Yeah,
team.
no,
Totally.
exactly. I totally agree, and I think it's all the more valuable when someone is an ally, but that's not a word that you just need to tattoo on your arm like Dave Hollis has done.
Everyone that's here that hasn't abused a woman last year can get an ally tattoo on their wrist or on their forearm.
Yeah. Just as long as there was no murder or something, you're fine.
Yeah. If you didn't murder. But if you get a temporary tattoo.
That is cheating.
From Dave himself. From the mouth of Dave.
It's breaking the social contract.
Contract between us.
Yeah. You guys, don't break the social contract and please subscribe, okay? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Send us donations through the mail.
Your social contract is if I ever come up with like a cartoon book or something, you buy it.
You must.
Just
we're gonna come
and
out
it
with
will
NFTs.
be $18.
Oh.
It is 18 American dollars.
That's how much our NFT is gonna go for. How much was it again? How much?
18 stinking dollars.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, I'm playing the rest because there's more. This is just we're not even a minute into this video yet. All right.
Questioned what Robbins was proclaiming.
Oh wait,
I have lots of Me Too stories, and I'm also a survivor of violence in my home as a child.
Right, I went back too far.
Themselves significant by making somebody else wrong and getting certainty. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just won't make you happy. I'm not knocking the Me Too movement. I'm knocking victimhood.
But McCool doubles down on her defense of Me Too, a movement organized to empower sexual harassment victims.
And certainly there are people who are using it
Sorry.
to relive into that. Young women.
Robbins invites Nanine.
How did I go so far back?
It just makes them.
Seminars is pushing exercise, but I didn't know where he was going with it. I'm a tall woman. I'm 5'8". He is so big, and when he stepped up to me right at first and he looked down on me, I triggered because he looked angry.
And the larger-than-life personality continues.
So I just with someone the other day, very famous man.
I'm so sorry, everybody.
Hired somebody else. I've had a dozen men tell me this.
The founder of the Me Too movement, Tarana Burke, wrote, "If you talk to more survivors and less sexist businessmen, maybe you'll understand what we want. We want safety. We want healing."
How bad is this for Tony?
I think it's terrible. I mean, Tony's career is based on two things. One is empathy, the idea that people hire him, go to his meetings, go to his seminars, because he understands them and he's trying to help them. If you're going to be dismissive and perhaps even downright hostile to things that thousands and thousands of people believe, that's going to be bad for your business.
The incident went viral when Now This News posted the video, garnering more than 5 million views. But Nanine says internet notoriety was the last thing she had in mind when she registered for the conference.
I'd seen his stuff on YouTube, but suddenly I thought, well, maybe Tony Robbins can help me figure out how to move forward in my life because I felt really stuck.
An out-of-work lawyer, she paid nearly $3,000 to attend the event. That money has since been refunded. McCool is one of millions who've turned to Robbins.
That's cringe.
I mean, I think he does this kind of stuff a lot.
I know.
It's just pathetic. I seriously, just the idea of like me going on a stage to be like, so I'm here to help all of you with your lives. Just it's so cringe. Can you imagine how deluded you must be that you as a single person can help thousands of people with their life problems? Like, you don't know anything about them.
You know, it's as much as I dislike all of these people who do this, I think at this point it really is going to be on the person to have to not rely on these bigger than life figures to fix their problems. I know people don't want to go to therapy. It's expensive and it's hard to talk about your issues. But if everyone were to take the money, the $3,000, and put it towards therapy with a mental health professional, not a life coach, I think your life would instantly improve from whatever you're doing. Because going to Tony Robbins and listening to him talk about his life, or other people talk about their lives, has nothing to do with you. So the more that people keep showing up to these events, that's the problem. I mean, the problem is the gurus, but the gurus are worthless, meaningless without their supporters. And I think that's, people need to look at themselves a little bit and go, I'm enticed by this marketing. I need to figure out why and do work innerly to figure out what's going on, because it's not gonna help.
Yes, I agree with you, and it's down to us to make sure that we make good choices and we know what we're buying. But I think that the marketing is very targeted, very predatory, very elaborate. They like you see with this book, he writes a book to expose all the scientific upgrades, and then in a year or two he's going to come up with that product. Like, this is all very well thought through. This isn't I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like there's a huge system in the back that makes them pushes them into the faces of people who are vulnerable, who are in a position where they're looking up, like, how do I not unalive myself, or stuff like that. And then when you're in vulnerable situations, you're more likely to fall for their promises, because their promises are unlike any other promises. Like, no therapist will just promise you that they can cure you in one event or something. Like, therapists will be like, it'll take us work, whatever, it will cost money. So what Tony is saying, you come to one of mine and your life is changed. So when you're in a vulnerable position, you don't know what the hell to do to get out of that position. You're gonna be like, what, fuck it, like, I'm gonna go. And hopefully he's right, and then you never know, literally just being upsold and upsold and upsold, and you're in this world, you're entangled in it. So it is down to us, but it's just like false advertising that really gets them to have these audiences in the first place.
Totally. Yeah, and I think as a society, whenever I say something after as a society, it's never usually good. As a society, I think what you said was a really good point, with like, he can solve you in one day, or he can heal you in one conference or whatever. So okay, it's $3,000, but like, it's one day, my time is not wasted, whatever. I think we need to get used to that. It's gonna be hard work. It's gonna take some inner work. It's gonna take time. Nothing of value is short, is easy, nothing usually, and it's like, when it comes to your mental health, it's so precious. It's like a diamond that's being formed over time from your childhood onwards. And if like you just blast it in a second, by going to a conference or spending a bunch of money or whatever, the chances of it turning into like the beautiful thing it is, and being healthy, it's very rare. It's very, very rare. So when these people promise you the world, it's like, and as enticing as it is, it's like, especially if you're in a vulnerable place, it's like, really consider like, okay, is this me being desperate? Because you can be desperate as a person. I've been in these situations before where I've spent money on gurus, I've spent money on coaching, and it's like, I look back and I'm like embarrassed by it. And I wish kind of somebody had said to me at the time, like, take a look at what's going on. Do you think this advertising is really, if it really worked, do you think these people would keep going for years and years and years and spend thousands of dollars? Or are they in a loop? A self-help loop? And it's like, I don't know. The only thing that helped me, I will say, is therapy. End of sentence. Like, I did all this shit. I did spiritual counseling. I did, chiropractic care. I did small group. I did yoga. I did, all this stuff. And all I did, I felt good temporarily. The only thing that I feel like I've actually grown in my life, growth, as it's so important to all these self-help people, is going to talk therapy, and I'm still in it. That's the only thing. Now, that's not gonna work for everybody, but at least my therapist knows me. If she was to walk down the street, she knows me. Tony Robbins doesn't know any of the people he's in those audiences, and that to me is a sign that you're in the wrong place.
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly. That part is so ridiculous. The fact that they're essentially handing out like advice that is meant to apply to every single person in that audience and every single person watching. That is impossible. We're different people. We have different personalities.
100%.
And a therapist, while it will take time and it is a different kind of thing, and it's not entertaining because you're not like there dancing and
Sucks.
jumping and whatever,
Yeah.
sucks. It's painful. It might bring up like old trauma, like, but it's working with you one on one.
Mm-hmm.
It's working with you, not with 10,000 of you, because you're not
Yes.
you're not carbon copies of one another. Like, you're not just all gonna have
The same
advice
views. Yeah.
that, like, for example, Rachel Hollis always has this thing where she's like waking up so early. That does not work for me. I can't. I've tried so hard to wake
Yeah.
up early. I can't. It's just like I am miserable.
10 steps to become miserable. Number 1, wake up early. Number 2, drink water all day.
Yeah, if I was a carbon copy of Rachel, I would have no problem waking up early like she does. Like,
Yeah.
I just can't. It's not me. It's not my nature.
I think, yeah, and this is my last point on all this, because I feel like I'm becoming like Joel Osteen in a female form. I think, what am I trying to say? Realize, and this is the hardest thing, and this was hard for me, because when you realize that you're vulnerable, like you as a person, any one of you at home that I love so deeply, you are vulnerable. You could be a victim. You probably were a victim of something at some point of your life. It's really hard for us, I think, as people to think that we were victims or that we were vulnerable or are vulnerable. So we rather lie to ourselves and say, I'm protecting myself from adverse things by going to a Tony Robbins conference. Like, I'm preemptively saving myself from being the victim of something because I'm proactive. I'm taking massive action. And you don't even realize you're walking into a lion's den, essentially. And lion's den meaning all they're going to do is try to shove programs, supplements, upsells down your throat for the next, however long. And no one is like higher than that. No one is better than to see like, oh my God, I'm smarter than to be sold to. Because if you have that mindset, you're always going to be taken advantage of. That's it. If you're not looking for it, you're not going to see it. Like, oh, these people are trying to take my money, as opposed to, oh, they're trying to help me. No, they're not. They're trying to take your money. Okay.
And they're expensive.
Oh, God, yeah.
They're not even cheap. I don't know how people can even go. Like, I would not be able to afford to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's thousands of dollars. And people say, like you said, Marie Forleo is like, sell your couch to go. It's like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways, sorry for that rant. That was a long thing.
No, that's why we're here.
Let's finish the video.
Self-help seminars have the vibe of a rock concert, preaching about personal performance, physical fitness, and what he calls emotional mastery. He's also a best-selling author, entrepreneur,
Most people don't even make a resolution anymore. Why?
infomercial fixture with a reported net worth of $500 million. He's even the subject of a Netflix documentary, I Am Not Your Guru.
I used the intervention to teach principles in the middle of it.
100%.
I love that. That's my favorite way to do it.
Robbins issued an apology yesterday on Facebook, saying in part, I apologize for suggesting anything other than my profound admiration for the #MeToo movement. And it's clear that I still have much to learn. ABC News reached out for comment, and we were referred back to that Facebook statement.
My first reactions to watching that, to be quite honest, it's just really exhausting. It's frustrating. There was a moment in particular in the video where she, stood up to voice her opinion.
I think the need. Not for you personally.
And he silenced her before she could even get her thought out. He cut her off. That's so telling of like the larger conversation and everything that's happening with that. It's like just the silencing of this woman.
Editor Essence Gant compiled an article for BuzzFeed asking women who've experienced workplace harassment to share their stories.
I politely refuse. He tells me that I'm turning him on and I owe him at least a kiss for that. It's super widespread as far as age, industry, profession, level of profession. Some stories were coming from girls as young as 15 working in retail, and other stories were coming from women who were doctors, who were senior executives.
She says sharing these stories is an important part of changing workplace culture.
When you elevate these stories and you give people this kind of platform, it eventually leads to action, and we can start to challenge policies and power structures that have for so long perpetuated this behavior and allowed it to go on without any kind of punishment.
Is I'm sorry enough?
It's not enough once. It has to be said over and over and over again. If you look at Tony Robbins' message, whether you believe in this kind of self-help stuff or not, it's about transforming yourself and learning from what has happened to you. This, to me, if Tony Robbins is smart, and he is a learning moment for him.
Why is she still pushing?
And while McCool may not have found the enlightenment she was looking for at the conference, she says she did find something unexpected, a sense of sisterhood.
A woman reached over and tapped me on the shoulder, and she was in tears. And she said, "You effing rock. That was awesome. I will never forget you."
For Nightline, I'm Lindsay Davis in New York.
All right.
Can we pull this comment? His little trampoline.
I know.
Hi everyone,
Oh,
George
sorry.
Stephan.
Oops. I know that's like his morning routine is like to go on a trampoline. God.
Why can't you jump normally?
He's got special skills that he's developed over time. Speaking to the world's best, the best trampoline jumpers of all time have told me, tiny trampolines are the best.
Can I just say, this is absolutely so dumb of Tony, because the vast majority of the self-help industry
Sorry.
is women because of the MLM affiliations and stuff. You can't be offensive to the vast majority of your audience in one sentence. And well, to be honest, he's done more than just that, but you must be an idiot to think you're just gonna be like, but what'd you do to upset the man? But because there's 80% women most probably in that audience.
But what is really? I mean, has he really been affected? I feel like he sells out conferences.
But that's
stills.
because of the misogyny that we have internalized.
Yeah.
That's why people don't know quite, it's just hard to because of the internalized misogyny, it's hard to just turn around against the man. You know what I mean? So even your own brain will work against you because it's conditioned that way. And
yeah,
it takes women like this who are brave and will speak out to only be able to even just open up the eyes of a few women in the room. But the vast majority of the women in that room, I bet they were on his side, even though the messaging was against them, because of that conditioning. Really, it's crazy. It's crazy just how well it's worked.
And that's the thing. It's even someone like Rachel or Marie that have seen. I'm sure that if they saw something like this when this scandal, quote unquote scandal, broke about the Me Too and about his messaging to women and that woman who was in the interview, that's both of their target audience. They prefer to listen to Tony and platform him and support him for their own gain than take someone like the woman who is their target audience and go, yeah, you know what? She's right. I have something to say, even though this may make me look bad in the industry. But instead they're like, oh no, yeah, women suck. I mean, essentially a lot of self-help women, their message is that women suck. Women are lazy. Women don't prioritize themselves. Women don't do self-care right. You should do this. You should have an exceptional marriage and you should put in the work. It's it's not really that great to women. It's you can do it, but you're not doing it. That's basically the message I hear a lot.
I think it's worse than that. I think that they think of it as a business decision.
Yeah.
They're doing what's right for them to make money. And they're saying the things that their audience will by, they're saying they're not challenging any really like when you watch this content from Marie and others. Marie sometimes has valuable content in terms of business. Like she will explain how you should write copy or whatever and on your website in order to just make sure that people don't drop off or like stuff. Like she does have content like that, which is why I liked her. And that I will give her like all the credit for, because she seems to be a very good businesswoman. So I would listen to the business advice. But like the self-help stuff, I can't help but to think that even, and especially for this situation with Rachel, I think for Rachel is a business decision and that's it.
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know. I think she's grasping
And
at
I don't-
anything right now.
Exactly, because of the situation she's in.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because like even if she wasn't in this situation, Tony Robbins is still way bigger than her, so
Yeah.
she would still like to tap into his audience too. So I think because of that, she really would have never said no, because she's not someone who will speak out for women. None of them are. They're not challenging anything. They're not challenging society. They're just selling their courses. That's it. They're selling their conferences. They're selling their whatever. In Rachel's case, clothes, notebooks, everything on
Water
the planet.
bottles. Well, that's the
Water
problem.
bottles, yeah.
The only thing that, at least in the United States and any place that it has capitalism, which is most of the world, I guess, well, that's probably a bad statement. A lot of the world has capitalists, even if they're not fully capitalist like the United States is, have capitalist elements. But when all we do is value productivity, how much money you bring in, how much, wealth you have, how much property you own, that's the only thing that really matters. The fact that you tell the truth, not important. The fact that you're a good person, not important. It really only matters if you know how to bring in dollars to your bank account from someone else's bank account. And it doesn't matter, as long as you're legal and you're continuing to sustain the interaction of money coming into you, you're going to be respected in the world. And that's what I think a lot of people have come to. It's like, being a good person, what does that even mean anymore? If I can bring in money, people are going to respect me and think I'm a smart person, so that's good enough for me. It makes no business sense to say, hey, Tony Robbins, you're an idiot and you offended me and you hurt my feelings and I'm not going to do an interview with you because I believe in this. Believing in anything is pointless in the world of business. It hurts you to believe in something. It's better to just cut yourself off emotionally, have no emotions. You'll do better in the corporate world. And it's like, is that something to be proud of? No, but it's where we're at. And I don't know how to feel about it, to be honest. It sucks. And I don't know.
It really sucks, and it's very shocking because we think of ourselves as like an evolved society, and it's very shocking to see just how primitive we are in terms of all of these things. What Tony did on the stage is no different than, me man go hunt, like you woman stay home. Like literally it's that, just with different words. And that's
true.
Seriously, like it's funny, but like sometimes I have this hope. It's mostly TikTok, because like TikTok has given me so much hope, and sometimes I'm like, this is false hope. Because the reality of the situation is that our society is still nowhere close to, like, these are voices that we're hearing more and more, but the reason we're hearing them is because of all the issues. Like the issues are here. They're not like, it's not like we have solved them or anything. We've just starting some.
Yeah.
And I feel trapped in between all this hope and just realizing how
misery.
We're not even close.
Yeah. I'm trapped somewhere between hope and hopeless. Somewhere in between. I agree. I mean, the thing I'll say that I think is good is that I personally, myself, I can't speak for anyone else, I'm getting more used to the fact, or more used to the idea of not just trying to get people to like me. As much as I am following, I want more subscribers, I want more viewers, I want more comments, I want more people to, interact with stuff. The liking part it's hard to let go because I think everyone has that complex where it's like, I wish everyone in the world would love me. That's all we want. We want love. We want to be appreciated. We want to be accepted. We want to be respected. But the more that I'm allowing myself to be okay with like, not everyone's going to like you, no matter what the heck you do, and be okay with that, and actually be okay with that, it's helping. But if you were to listen to these self-help people, it's like, just try to do all these things to be a better person so that more people like you and you're a better person in the world. It's like, it's so exhausting. I can't drink water all day long and work out and wake up at 5 a.m. and be the best mom and like, you know, cook big brownies. I can't do it. You can't have it all. That's what I decided. It's like, well, I gotta just
And Rachel couldn't
okay
have
with
it either.
No.
But she, for a very long time, she didn't say she had, I don't know, nannies and chefs and whatever.
Yeah.
She didn't say that. She only said it like towards the end of her career, really.
Well, because like people wouldn't buy her. That's a capitalist decision too. Because it's like, well, people aren't going to buy your stuff if it's like, well, caveat, make sure to note here that I have a nanny. You have to believe that the content is coming from a place of someone who's proven the unprovable, as opposed to, oh yeah, obviously when you have more money, things are easier for you time-wise, or you have more options to hire people to help you with your day-to-day tasks. Duh. Yeah. I don't need a self-help guru to tell me that.
And that's why she's also saying stuff like, I wake up at 4 a.m. Because the implication is I work very hard. But
of course.
But you wake up and you exercise, really. It's not that you're just like cleaning your own house because you have a cleaner.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I wake up and I'm the best mom ever. It's like, okay, great. Good for you. Wonderful. But like, that's not applicable to a lot of people. And should they feel like the worst mom ever then? I don't know. Yeah. It's hard. It's like a stupid industry that I hate. If you couldn't tell.
you guys, we don't like self-help.
Anyways, okay. This is a fun thing. Hopefully, again, it's old enough, so hopefully it doesn't get demonetized, but we'll see. This is the Shallow Hal connection. So Tony Robbins was in Shallow Hal back whenever that movie came out with Jack Black. And so Ben Stiller was in that, I think, right? And so this is an interview about that. It's kind of funny. But you can tell, like, Ben Stiller's not a fan, in my opinion. Doesn't seem like it to me, at least.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, do you remember being here in 1996?
I do. I'm back by popular demand after 14 years.
Well, what
It's
was Ben Stiller was going to tell a story about it. Ben did not know that you were hiding behind the couch.
Yes.
Here, take a look. Did you have, like, celebrities drop by the set?
Yeah, but Tony Robbins, who's actually in our movie, you know.
Oh, the motivational guy?
Right, the motivational guy. He's like a big guy. He's about 6'9", and he speaks like this. And he's incredibly tan and has huge white glistening teeth. So he came to the set and visited. And what happened was, though, he stayed like the whole day. He wouldn't leave.
Was it annoying to have him around?
Well, he just asks a lot of questions because he's incredibly interested in exactly what you have to say about your success. Very interested.
Do you think he's at home now, watching this?
I don't know, Jay. I don't know where he was.
Right here.
To me, I'm like, oh God, he was not a fan.
I coached Ben Stiller.
I know, I coached him. I gave him great advice. I said, I'm here.
I changed his life.
I revolutionized his life. God. There's another impression that I thought was kind of funny of, let me find it, it's short too. Stand by. There's also a Family Guy episode that features Tony Robbins, but I know we can't play that, so.
Oh, really? Yeah. Are we gonna get copyright claimed?
Probably. I don't think this one's too old, so I think this one's fine. Okay, this is Jim Carrey as Tony Robbins.
So he's been ridiculed for a long time.
Oh yeah, he's been around forever. Like he's been on the infomercials back in the 90s when this was all happening, and now he's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger.
No, but I mean he's been ridiculed.
Oh yeah, yeah, by mainstream. Oh, I got the wrong one. Sorry. Thank you, No Name. Not Shallow Hal. Jack Black, not Ben Stiller. Okay. What movie was he with Ben Stiller then? I don't know. Anyways, okay.
I want to unleash the financial giant within you. I know my size is alarming, but do not fear me. Then you will realize I am a friendly giant, much like Herman Munster, or that retarded fellow on Of Mice and Men. Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of Fran Tarkington. I want...
So that's Jim Carrey's impression. And then, yeah, there's a whole thing with there's a whole scene of Tony Robbins with Family Guy. You'll have to search that. Search Family Robbins.
I've just
Sorry,
become
Family
a
Robbins.
Jim Carrey fan.
Now, speaking of Jim Carrey, I think we should talk about him at some point because he's a little
no.
He's a little kooky. I don't think he's bad. I think he's like better. I think he's a better self-help guy, but he's definitely into some
You just made me
woo-woo.
fall in love with him, and now you're like breaking my heart.
No, I like him. I mean, I haven't seen him. He doesn't promote anything necessarily that I've seen, but he definitely has a self-help spiritual edge to him. And
I think I've heard the story with the check that was
Mhm.
in his wallet or something for like $2 million. Or yeah, I
Yeah.
heard that one.
Yeah, and that was
But I thought
very
he was
on
like
brand.
I thought he gave up on acting and it was just painting and him being crazy and stuff.
I think so. I think now, yeah, maybe. He was in something though recently. I saw he was in, and I was like, really? He's gonna be doing that? What was he in? I don't know. He recently was in a movie, and I was shocked because I thought he gave up acting too. But he's kind of into maybe, I don't know, alternative medicine. He's definitely into saying that like none of this exists. We're not here. This is all an illusion. That kind of stuff. So
The universe and the shroom stuff.
I guess. I mean, he's an artist. I mean, I love Jim Carrey. I think he's a great actor, and like, you know, everything he does is wonderful, mostly. But I would like to explore him a little bit and kind of do a deep dive because there's elements that I think touch on a lot of stuff that we talk about.
Yeah, yeah.
Oprah too. Oprah is the one
Oprah.
Because
I have given up. I wanted to make a video on Oprah a long time ago. And
Yeah?
I gave up because I was like, it's not worth the amount of hate I'm going to get.
I'm doing it. I don't care. I'm doing it. I think there's something to say. Sonic the Hedgehog. That was it. I was like, he's going to come back to act for Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I thought it was so interesting. What a random, I mean, I guess not random. I don't know. I think it's kind of random, right? That Jim
Yeah.
Carrey would be in Sonic. That's so
The
funny.
last thing I saw him on was not even a movie. It was like that Jerry Seinfeld car show where he goes in cars and has coffee with people. That's I think what I saw him, Jim Carrey on last.
I don't know if I saw the series, but I don't remember his episode necessarily.
Yeah, he jumped over like his own gate.
Oh, yes.
It's like this
Okay.
really tall gate. Instead of just coming out of it normally, he decided to jump out of it.
Yes. Okay, I do remember that. That's funny. As a videographer, so many people wanted to hire me to do, that was like their unique concept. They're like, oh, I want to do a show on YouTube about real estate agents in cars getting coffee. I'm like, oh God, that that was like a whole year of like, I have this really great idea. Okay, it's going to be, accountants, real estate, or landscaping accountants in cars getting tea. I'm like, oh, ooh, exciting. I just did this 10
Wow.
times last week.
I have a great idea. Debunking self-helpers in cars getting coffee.
I like it. Debunking self-help in private jets drinking mimosas. I don't
Even
drink, but-
better. Even better.
Sponsored by JetBlue.
But here's me manifesting. You guys, I at some point will go to the States and me and Kayla will meet in person and we will be in a car driving and getting coffee and talking about Rachel Hollis, bro.
God, I can never move on from Rachel Hollis. There's too much content. There's too much to talk about. There's so much. There's so much I haven't even said yet about Rachel Hollis that I want to say. But I need to stop because, again, the judge is going to be like, okay, you should have stopped at 15 videos. Here we are at 500. you knew it wasn't going to be good. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Take me away.
Sometimes I feel like guilty as well. But the thing is, she's really just smashing it out of the park. Like, this really, sometimes you can't shut up. Like, it's just too good.
It's too juicy. I mean, I gotta tell you, that Reddit thread with the Hollises was like, I was on that thing all day long for like 12 hours a day. I was like interacting there. I'm like, oh my God, did you just see what they posted? Oh my God, did you just see that? Oh, what's going on? What is even happening? Like, there's so many different characters. It's like watching a reality show and being like a small part of it.
Yeah.
It's concerning. Anyways.
Well, I mean, we are concerning. If people hate us for that, like, I mean, I think they probably caught on to that before we said.
I think we've reached our target audience. Yeah. I don't know. I hope I don't sound like preachy or anything. I just, as someone who used to, and I don't know if I admitted this on this episode, but I used to listen to Tony Robbins stuff, and people would ask like, oh, what type of stuff are you into? Like, oh, Tony Robbins-esque self-help. Unironically, like, not to be facetious or a joke, like, I thought like this was helpful to my life. And again, until I got into therapy and I looked at like my situation, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I don't believe in any of this anymore. Like, I was, being a victim and trying to deal with that it somehow. And I was like, yeah, self-help is great. It's going to make me feel like really engaged. And it's like, I don't know. It hurt me. It hurt me totally.
I will say that there is an element of the self-help industry, and this is probably their biggest crutch, really, which is indeed helpful. Like the taking agency over things, like just taking responsibility. And because sometimes we do get caught on autopilot, and sometimes we do, we just forget about things. We get distracted, whatever. Sure. You forget to do certain things that you've always wanted or whatever. I will give them that. So I that's kind of what I took from Rachel Hollis in the beginning when I first like discovered her. And it was that level of just kind of like get out of pilot mode and start doing things if you want those things. And I will it's not just self-help. Obviously, this is like advice that is great across the board, I would say. And I will say that there is a lot of that people do, and they have majorly capitalized on that. They noticed and they used it so much in self-help. So that's the only thing that I will ever give them credit for. But at the same time, they're using that a little too much for my liking, because they're like using it to the point where they're dismissing systemic oppression, they're dismissing politics, they're dismissing like pandemics and like wars. And at that point, it's you have agency over your life. Some you do, but we all live in countries with like a political regime. We all live in countries with laws and rules that apply, and you can't just even if there are no laws or whatever. Let's say you lived in a country that's unregulated or stuff. There's still like social rules. There's like, you can never get away from society to the point where you're gonna live alone only to follow your dreams or whatever. Like, that's
in
not
a vacuum.
Not worth the life, That's the problem. They've pushed it too far, but the initial thing, I think, is helpful.
Yeah, I think at the basic level, it's never bad to feel motivated. It's not, I don't think, to do whatever you want to do. But, and this is what I think I fell into in the cycle, and maybe people at home can relate. Maybe you can relate to this, but I'm unrelatable.
I want to be relatable.
So, hear me out. There's something wrong with you in the sense of, like, if you have, I a lot of times would say, like, if I could just get my shit together, if I could just have 1 week when I got my shit together and, like, I could be better and I could kind of like feel better. And it just never, I kept feeling like that for years and years and years. And so you start to think that and you go, okay, I'm going to listen to self-help, and that's going to be me ticking the box of I'm dealing with my mental health. And it would almost excuse me from dealing with my actual deeper issues. So, you know, issues with my family, with how I was having relationships, how I was dealing with eating and different things that I was not focusing on. I was just saying, I listened to a Rachel Hollis podcast today. I took care of my mental health for the day. My mental hygiene has been checked and I can move on and feel better about myself. And it's like not until the pandemic happened and I had no choice but to deal with it, felt like, okay, I'm now I feel like I'm really dealing with my mental health as opposed to taking the easy way out and going, I went to a Tony Robbins conference. My mental health is 100%. How could it be if I went there? How could it not be if I had gone to a conference like that?
And that is also because of the messaging that they're pushing, because their messaging is very much like, if you buy my book, you're gonna learn this. Then in the book, they're gonna sell you the course. If you take my course, you're gonna invest in yourself. You're gonna do this and you're gonna do that. So it's an addictive thing. Just the listening to these messages, you're getting addicted because they're literally telling you that what you're doing is good and it's an investment in yourself. You're not addicted, and you're not kidding yourself. They're lying to you by telling you did a good thing by buying my course. You did a good thing by buying my book. And next time you should invest in yourself, even though you don't have money. Like Jen Sincero has said that she had like $80,000 or something in debt because of that. Like they're reinforcing spending money and essentially selling that as you doing something. And you when you're in a vulnerable position, you would do anything.
Totally. Especially when you feel like, oh my God, I'm like in a bad place. You search the internet for I'm in a bad place or whatever, and these are the types of people that come up because these are the people who are buying the SEO, words for, I hate myself. I would not be surprised if a lot of self-help people buy stuff like that. I know Teal Swan basically owns like the SEO for, I want to unalive myself, because she wants those types of people to be on her channel to get into her funnel so that she can sell them all this crap about, whatever. But I wouldn't be surprised if someone like Tony Robbins owns I hate my life. So if you search that in Google Ads, or Google, like he comes up. Because those are the types of people that he wants and that most self-help people want. They don't want someone who's accomplished, who has a critical mind to think like, this advice doesn't relate to me. I'm not, a middle-aged man living in Nebraska. Like that's the advice this is for. They don't want that. They want someone who's desperate that will take anything and hope that it makes them feel better. And that's the sad part, because those people need real help and they're not getting it.
And they also don't want rich people. They don't want smart people as much as they say. The reason why they all market themselves as I'm just a normal guy. I was so poor. They're marketing themselves like that so that the vulnerable populations relate to them, so that the vulnerable populations spend money on them. They're not marketing themselves in a way so that Barack Obama buys him. He doesn't care about Barack Obama. He's just one guy, but the normal populations are like billions.
But the thing is too, and this is what I fell into, I didn't see myself as a vulnerable person. I saw myself as a really smart person seeking out really smart people. And that's why I think a lot of people go into these conferences thinking like, I am really smart for being here, as opposed to I'm a desperate person searching for desperate answers. But it's hard to see that in yourself. It really is, until you're in retrospect and you go, damn, like I was in a bad place back then. And then it's too late.
Yeah. And they know exactly how to use that against you.
Totally. Yeah. And to get you to buy. Well, if only you went to my one-on-one coaching, then you probably would get over this. And then as you go there, it's like, well, if only you did it for another year. If only you come back to my conference. It's like, when is it ever enough?
If you went to more conferences, if only you, like even Rachel Hollis, like I've been to 4 whatever the hell they're called.
She said she went to one last year. She said she went to one last year to get re-inspired because of her divorce. It's like,
Yeah. Okay.
Didn't you bring Dave to this conference? So obviously it didn't work the first time. Now you're going to use the same exact conference to get over your divorce?
I would
That is
be
cheating.
I would be willing to argue that self-help is the reason they divorced.
Definitely, 100%. And I never give Dave credit, but he was the one who was skeptical about it, at least at first.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, good. Like, at least you had a little, hesitancy.
Yeah, and she brought him into this in the first place, and then essentially got him to give up his job and work in self-help.
And look how that worked out. Yeah.
And I think had they been realistic and had they been like, okay, we have some marital problems, we can't just like go to Tony Robbins conferences and expect that he will solve our marriage from the stage. We should probably seek a therapist and like just see if we can fix this.
Yeah.
If they had been more realistic, maybe they would have had the chance to fix their issues. But I think they were so entangled with all this self-help and all this like quit your job, move to Austin, start companies, and that they never stopped to like think critically, really.
Yeah. And if you think about the two of them and their pasts and how they got together, it makes sense that Rachel was the one pushing Dave into self-help because she came from what she describes as a, lower income, trauma-filled background, not a great relationship with her parents, has a brother who, unalived himself, created trauma. She got married young. It makes sense that she be the one to seek out self-help, and Dave, who seemingly got everything that he's wanted, has stable family life, went to a good college, graduated, got corporate jobs, was making good money, wasn't seeking self-help at that time.
Yeah.
So, and it's almost like, like she brought him in and said, there's something wrong with you, that you're not seeking this out, which in reality was like, no, Rachel, like you probably should be doing some inner work as opposed to, forcing your husband to go to Tony Robbins. But that's my personal opinion. That's my take on it,
No, yeah, I agree. And I think this was her only chance to, because like there was another aspect that I thought about recently, which is that Rachel got married to Dave and saw him thrive in his career and like make a lot of money and stuff. And she was, as much as she was initially working, but then I think she quit and started her own blog and whatever. She had kids, like she couldn't do the thing, she couldn't have a full-time job like she did when she got pregnant every 2 years. But basically that part, I think, is the reason, having kids is the reason probably why she decided to just start her own blog and then like her own little company instead of working. So she must have sat there watching Dave succeed and make a lot of money, and she wasn't making any. So obviously when she's in that position, and she obviously is a very ambitious woman, so she probably hated that. Hated that she wasn't able to do the same. And when she finally had this chance, she was very smart and managed to capitalize off of it. But she either went full on, I believe in this 100%, or saw the opportunity and was like, I'm gonna squeeze this as far as it goes. And she did.
But only for a short time. It's like, how great is a career if it's 5 years? Like she she wrote Girl Wash Your Face, came out in 2018. It's 2022 and she's basically done, so it seems, unless some miraculous thing happens and she turns her career around. But yeah, I mean, what, a 5-year career, is that great? I mean, same with Dave. He worked for 15 years, but now he's got 20 years left to work, maybe 10 at a lower end.
That's this is probably one of the reasons why I'm still following them, and in the sense that I'm still like keeping up to what they're saying, rather than because I don't believe anything they say, but I'm still like on top of it, and I still watch and listen because I am fascinated, because this is one of these cases where you see it and you develop under your eyes, and you see just what it means to not have built a sustainable career, or not have built a career that is based on being honest and truthful. And you can see just how detrimental this has been to them and how it ruined both their careers. And it's very interesting because like oftentimes you see all these YouTubers who are like, oh, I posted my first video, like Janelle Iliana, and she posts a video, it gets like I don't know how many million views, and suddenly she's like famous, you know, and she's making a lot of money. And you see these TikTokers do that, and you tend to be jealous as a small YouTuber and be like, oh, I wish this happened to me and whatever, and you dismiss the importance of growing slowly and just like learning how to do it. And I think this is what happened to Rachel. This happened very quickly. She didn't know what to do, so she did capitalize off of it as much as she could, but she fucked up royally because she didn't know. She had no idea how to really handle it. She didn't understand how important the audience is. So I think that's it. And I think I'm starting more and more to appreciate just how you need longevity and you need, to grow slowly. You do need it because that's the only way you'll be able to sustain it. And I don't know. I think at least I'm starting to get a lot more respect for small YouTubers and for YouTubers who grew organically and over time and I noticed it with like, for example, Smoky Glow, and Angelica Oles, like they had some drama, I don't know, like a year or 2 years ago, whatever. And I noticed how Smoky Glow handled that just perfectly. And Smoky Glow is someone who grew really slow. Like there's slower than that too, but like she grew slow. She didn't have like I don't know, 1,000
million.
subscribers. She grew relatively slow. Like she posted a lot of content, sometimes like 5 times a week and stuff like that for a long time. And it made me appreciate in that moment when I saw how well she handled it and how she immediately respected her audience and immediately was like, no, I have a duty as an influencer, if you will, that it made me appreciate that she has done this over a long time and she does have that respect. And I think Rachel not having respect for her audience is the reason why she's in this mess.
Well, think about having a relationship with anybody, a boyfriend, a friend. It's like the longer you're with someone, probably the more you're going to respect them most likely, or the more that you would fear losing them. Like, I've known you for 20 years. Like, I don't want to lose this friendship. I'm going to try to, reconcile whatever you're upset about, as opposed to, I only met you last month. Who cares? Bye, and I think that's the same thing. It's like, of course, with this parasocial relationship, like she doesn't see any of these followers. She doesn't like, from what I heard, she doesn't like to be approached or anything, Rachel, and it shows. It's like people can feel that, and especially like you can convince someone for a year that you're a good person or that you can appeal to all of the things that they're looking for, but 2 years, it's harder. It's much harder. It's double as hard. 4 years, that's even harder. And it's like, that's where I think she couldn't contain it. If you're not being authentic and you're just like this anyways, you can't contain it for very long, I don't think, unless you're really, really good at hiding it. Because Tony like uses some of his life as an example. I think a lot of what he uses is bullshit, and it's just like a story that he's made up, and to tell an anecdote of something. I think Rachel, she takes more truth and then rewords it, but it's too easy to go back and look and see, are you really like that? Like, is that truly your personality? Like, I am just a hippie. It's like, that's so easy to see immediately that that's not true or hasn't been true for the whole time. Let me find my soundbite. Hold on.
Am I the only hippie?
No, she's not. And it's like, you can't, like, all this stuff is online. Like, some people will be fooled, but then if they have like a suspicion, they can go find all of our videos and be alerted to, oh, she's not real. And that's going to happen probably to everybody at some point. If they get that big, they're going to have dissenters. It's like, can you sustain that? Can you withstand that? And for her was no. Or Dave, for sure no.
Yeah.
Other ones, yes.
Yeah. And it's one of the more obvious cases because this has happened a lot, and there's been loads of people, influencers who have been canceled, and whatever. Some of them are able to come back and
Mhm.
just maybe rebrand a little bit and try to tap into a different audience and
Sure.
just hope to the algorithm gods. But
Yeah.
but for Rachel, like it's shocking because she can't seem to be able to rebrand this time. I don't know.
She's trying. And I give her credit. She's tries hard. And if it was me in her position, I would have given up already. So, I give her credit for being, pushing through, but I don't think it's going to work. I don't think you can do the same grift you did before. The only hope I think she had was to say, I fucked up. I learned from it and I'm going to do it differently this time, as opposed to trying to just bury it and be like, I've always been this way. It's like, no, you haven't. Nope.
Yeah, and I think she missed the boat on that one.
Too late now. And
by
Dave,
coming back like this. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
same.
if a year ago when, the divorce was happening and everyone was mad at them,
Mhm.
maybe then had they been like, oh, wait, this is bigger than we thought. Maybe
Yeah.
then it would have worked because that was, strike when the iron is hot. But now if she's coming back now to apologize and whatever, I just feel like it's a little too late and doesn't have much of an impact now. I don't think it would have on me. I would still be relatively shocked to see it.
I don't think it's, just based on her numbers, based on the amount of people that went to Rise, which was nobody compared to the thousands she used to have, the amount of views she gets on her videos. I don't know how her podcasts do, but her video views are low, so I can imagine that the podcast views are probably low as well. I just don't foresee it happening, especially because she's going so far away from the Christian ideals that she had that was enticing to a lot of women. She's going into spiritual help, which it has some fans, but not as many, I don't think.
And that's another thing. Like, if she wasn't that religious, why did she tap into that audience? And now she just, you know what I mean? Like, that's such a... Why not just be honest from the get, and then nobody would have anything to... Hi!
Hello, Bohemia.
Nobody would have anything to blame her for if she had been honest from the beginning and was like, yeah, I'm not that religious, or...
Well, think of Rachel as a Tony Robbins fan. What would Tony Robbins tell her to do? Would be to double down, believe in yourself, manifest your destiny, and keep doing what you're doing, girlfriend, honey, kid. Like, that's what he would say to her. So that's what
he
she's
said
doing.
something to her about, oh, you've been through a tough season.
Oh, I know.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, because it must be winter or something for you. I'm like, shut up. Oh my God.
And I was wondering if he's talking about the fact that she was canceled, but
no.
He must have talked about
because
Dave.
Because she said, oh, last year I just gone through a divorce and I was really sad because she said that she said she had gone to the virtual UPW Unleash the Power Within conference that Tony did for the first time virtually. And she said, well, it was fine. It's convenient to do it virtually, but you guys should really go and do it in person. I'm like, okay. So it's like $5,000 more to do. Very relatable. I don't know. In some ways I feel bad. Like, listening to part 1 of the podcast, I was almost like I did defend her on the stream that I did, but it was like, Tony's not allowed to criticize her, or disrespect her. If I was to talk to Rachel one-on-one in this way, I don't think I would be as disrespectful as I thought he was to her. Like, he placated her and said Rachel, but I think these are all tactics to make himself look good. I don't think he cares at all about Rachel. And I don't know. I feel like I was getting upset. I was like, as much as we criticize her, like you and I will criticize, or anyone on any channel criticizes her, it's out of a place of like, if she took the advice, it probably would help her out. It would help her and her followers, as opposed to someone who's trying to profit off of using them. And I felt like, damn,
Yeah.
Rachel, like, we're better friends for you than this guy. And this is who you choose to focus on. And you call us all haters and losers and whatever. It's like, that's fine. But actually, if you were to look at this from a critical place, you would see that, like, we would help you more than he is currently.
Yeah, he just wants to advertise his book. That's it. That's
To
the only
mommies.
reason he came.
Yeah.
He
Totally.
wants more sales. When you were at his conference, he didn't want to talk to you. So, yeah, he doesn't care about talking to you. He's just advertising a book.
Yeah. And
You're like a panel. Like, you know
Mm-hmm.
how you see these panels in the street with like a marketing message? This was
Billboard.
the marketing message, and Rachel was the panel, was the board.
Which
Like-
sucks. It makes me feel bad for her. It makes me feel like a sense of like, oh man, like no woman or anyone should be treated like that. But I'm like,
But
why
then
am I
she
doing this?
Then she's done this too. She's done this too.
Yeah.
She's gone to all these other self-help interviews to promote her books.
Mm-hmm.
So she's doing it too, and there's some value in having these connections for them, because
Yeah.
they're able to sell to the other guys' audience.
Yeah, it's that first clip that we watched from him from like the 80s or whatever. Where he's like, oh, we all reciprocate each other's services. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I guess so. But that's not what life should be. I feel like that's what life is becoming. In my normal life, I feel like it's all like, what did you do for me lately? That's how the
Yeah.
world operates. And it's like, I don't know, it's scummy to me. It's like, can't we just discuss and talk and be honest and have friendships and conversations? Why does it always have to be like, are you promoting my MLM brand to your followers? Are you promoting my blog to your people? Can I promote? It's like, ugh. I
It's
get
always
it, but-
like a bit of a red flag when people just ask, and especially if you don't know them.
Mhm.
Just I can't imagine just being. I mean, you do this sometimes when you need to. Like, for example, I did have to ask for like letters of recommendations and stuff like that. Every time I have to do it, I feel awful.
Yeah.
You always have to be like, oh, can I please just. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. I really need it. Like,
I know, it's like, what am I supposed to do? I'm sorry for existing, but I need this, so my bad. I know, I get the same way.
yeah.
It's tough. It's a weird, I don't know, life is weird. There's going to be all this nuance, but I guess what I've learned at the end of the day is that listening to yourself is probably just as useful and free than going to any one of these things or reading any one of these books, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, reading these books not only costs you money, but then it costs you like you can just scrape, I don't know, 2 years of your life. You're gonna be stuck in that cycle of like self-help. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad to be out of it. I'm lucky and grateful to have overcome my self-help addiction.
Yeah.
I've
Me
been
too. I
clean.
used to watch like Tom Billious interviews with like a bunch of people.
I can't wait till
And
we do
some
the
of them-
Tom Billieu episode one day.
Yeah, we should. That one should be like at the top of the list. I definitely think he had some interesting guests. So there's people who are actually like interesting, who have done stuff, who have expertise. But you can totally see it when somebody does have expertise versus when somebody's a self-help guru. Like,
Yeah.
it's so obvious, and in the way that they talk, in the way the conversation goes, like with self-helpers, like they just starts to sound at one point like it's a cult, and they're just crying together, laughing together. I don't know. And with like people who have some expertise, and they're even on Tom Billious stuff, like you can see that it's a completely different vibe, and you can totally tell. So I don't feel like awful, because some of the people on his interviews are good people. So there's that. But
Yeah.
he personally, not so much.
Well, he's a successful dude, you know? Like, I think he got lucky in a lot of ways. He makes it seem like he's some sort of mastermind, and I think, he was in the right place, right time with Quest Nutrition. That is a successful company. He's no longer a part of it, which I think is interesting. And his contribution, at least at one point, was to do exactly what he's doing now for Quest, which is interview people on camera, and now he left Quest and is doing exactly the same thing. So, I mean, he's found his shtick, he's sticking to it. But I don't
And
think
he got his wife to do the same.
Yeah, which, you know, I think she's not as, I think he's better at it. I can't watch her very long. And maybe that's my misogynistic gene coming through. But I don't know.
I think he's terrible. He listens to, especially self-help. He listens like he's amazed at what
know.
he's, those eyes you saw from Marie, like, Tony, like that, like Tom believes it. Like, okay, I have my doubts about Rachel, but Tom fucking believes this crap. Really does.
Does he though? Or is he just trying to make it seem like, oh yes, I totally understand because I am so enlightened by everything that's in the world, so I totally
No,
get
because
it.
if he was a little bit smarter, he wouldn't be saying things like, I'm trying to live forever. And
Oh my God. It's like, I've accepted that I will die one day. It's like, oh, congratulations, Tom. I'm glad that you've accepted death as part of the life cycle. Most people have done that already. And regardless if they accept it or not, it will happen. So what's the point of this?
yeah, exactly.
Am I-
But I think that's why I think he really hopes that self-helpers are like right. And you can change things with your mindset only.
My biggest
And by buying courses, of course.
Yeah, he sells courses too, which is, number one grift. And he's on Gary V's speaking platform or whatever, so he's a Gary V guy. And he's all into this NFT stuff, which is super annoying also, so it's, I don't know, I'm so out of NFT interest that it's unbelievable. But
don't worry, it's just an MLM for men. That's
I
literally
know.
what
Yeah, and he's at the top. He's starting his Christmas MLM or Christmas NFT thing or whatever. But my biggest gripe with Tom is that he claims that he worked at a door factory, and I call bullshit on that. 100%. You did not work at a door factory when you were like 12. He's like, I worked at a door factory. And then I opened the door to my life. I'm like, shut up. That's the worst fake symbolic story I've ever heard in my life.
Wow, I didn't hear him say this, but this sounds,
We'll have to
in
talk
line.
about it in depth
Yeah.
when it comes
We
up.
should do this. Maybe we should do him next.
Yeah.
Or soon.
We'll put the
enough.
poll up. I want to do the Kardashians too. We have to do them.
Oh gosh, I would never know as much as you guys know because you're like in America.
True. I don't know much, to be fair. I've tried actively to stay away, but I think now that they're self-help influencers, business gurus in the making, we should talk about it. Because,
Yeah.
a lot of people look up to them as a family, and I think they do a lot of interesting marketing type things where they're like photoshopping children that aren't there and posting them on Instagram to like create buzz and stuff. So it's interesting to take a look at.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they're very smart. Very smart.
yeah. Well, you saw the latest thing, right? That Kim was like, no one wants to work anymore. You got to get your ass out of bed and work like me. It's like, okay.
Kim, shut the fuck up. She also wakes up at 4 a.m.
She doesn't sleep. She actually doesn't sleep at all. She's superior to everyone else. I love this
Yeah.
comment. Dave works at a boat factory. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
He probably, next book comes up with the truth.
Yeah. So I lied. Well, they should write a book together,
You
collective
guys,
book.
I know I told you I worked at Disney forever. Actually,
It was Universal. Ah! Surprise. Got your ass. I did a Mickey Mouse voice.
Okay.
Oh, you froze again. Oh, there you are.
Am I gone again?
You're back. No, you're back. All right, are we going to call it? I know there's a Dave Hollis podcast that came out. I saw people were talking about it. I don't think we can, I don't think I can survive. And it's like, what, 1 a.m. where you are?
Yeah, it's midnight right now. 0000. There's got to be some significance to that.
Your angel numbers.
I'm getting significance from Tony Robbins right now.
Thank you so much for telling me the time.
Thank you so much for watching, you guys.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk to everyone in the comment or in the community tab, that seems to be a good place to like ask questions like which one should we do, and have polls during the week so that when we get here on Thursday, we'll have the best possible story to talk about.
Yeah, that would be good. Thank you so much for being here with us, guys.
Yes, thank you for being here and being active and sharing in this moment with us. And we love you.
Yes.
We are rocking for you.
Oh my God, we need to get the soundbite from Dave. Wait, no, it was a notes app. Ugh.
Which one?
Where he said he loves people like 3 times in the same message.
Oh, damn. Okay, what else? I have some other stuff from Dave. Hold on.
I am all about getting a free ride.
What is this one?
Words
Yell at
of
these
wisdom.
people. I will actually do something obscene for you.
That's a good one.
This
Okay.
guy will change your life.
You know who will change your life?
Rach.
I don't want
But
to be
also-
relatable.
I don't want to be relatable, but also.
But also, that is cheating.
Okay.
It was inside of.
I know, that's the
cheating.
next one. I need to get inside. I have so much more, but they take so long to find. So if anyone has requests for sound bites, find the video in which the soundbite contained and then send me the time code and I'll do it. If it's reasonable.
Be reasonable, everybody.
Yeah.
No slurs of any kind.
No slurs, and it has to be like a 2 second to 4 second max. But I am taking requests.
Nice.
All right.
Okay. Well, good night. Good night, and we love you so much.
We're rocking out for you. All right, I'm done.
Yeah.